Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is I am him, the one and only Steel Rain. And I'm here with one of the most uncanny gentlemen that is across the lands. The brother from another, my big dog, my homie, my one of a kind. The guy who puts the soul into Pong. My guy Pong Soul. What's going on, Brody? How you feeling? How's your week been? And man, let's talk to the people this morning, man. Let's wake them up.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Living SplitScreen episode 22. That's right, the double deuces. It's that time of the week, and we are getting you live and ready. Man, there's been a lot of good stuff this week, Steel. I can't believe it, man. Golden age of gaming. I don't care if you guys are sick of hearing it from me. I'm going to continue to say it because we have to absolutely respect and understand where we are in the history of this industry and how damn lucky we are to be gamers right now.
100%.
All the nonsense out there, all the bitching, all the complaining, all the crying, man, throw that all aside because Gamescom this week just reinforced everything that you and I have been talking about, Steel, when it comes to right now and where we are within history of gaming. Because
100%.
Man, there is so much to talk about. It was hard to keep up with. Busy at work, busy with real life, you as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
always.
Man, there was so much information dropping. I was like, it was making my head spin. I was trying to watch these shows while working. Man, it was crazy time. So, but man, it's been a good week. Glad to be back here. So good to see you, brother. We didn't get to talk all this week. Outside of a few DMs, but here we are, man. And your smiling face brightens my day and the world over. So the Steel Rain, that's what he does. Hey, so anyways,
come in bringing the rain, right?
Yeah, that's right, man. How was your week? What you been up to?
Look, man, we're on episode 22, so it's an exciting thing. 22 weeks of doing the Living SplitScreen. It all started from a DM, and now look at where we're at, man. My week has been interesting, man. I mean, with work continuing to put that ball on me as far as just training and learning stuff and whatnot. That's just been the story of my life, man. And luckily, just to pull the curtain back a little bit, fortunately or unfortunately, some things have been pushed back with the wife and whatnot. Things to that nature, with her getting surgery and everything, it's kind of been, it's been an up and down battle, but it's things have been pushed back, so we've been given some more time, fortunately or unfortunately, depends on how you want to look at it. We try to keep it positive over here, so it is what it is as far as things go. But other than that, I mean, I've been getting some gaming, man. When I've been, my life has completely changed. It went to how it kind of used to be, right? I've become that night owl again, unfortunately, where I got so used to being the day guy, and I'm up there in the day. Well, I mean, I still am, but my days start a lot later than they used to. I was getting up 6 o'clock every day, 5 o'clock every day, getting ready for work, to now it's later than that. I'm getting up at 10, 9, 10, and then I get home, and then, by the time I get home, relax and get settled in, I want to get some gaming in, man. And Destiny 2 has just been the calling, bro. My brother has continuously, kept me on the ball for that. Every time it's been consistent, man. It's real when the homie or a brother hits you up and he's like, "Look, man, you getting on?" And you're like, "Yeah, man, I'm getting on. I got to get in that PvP action." Unfortunately, last night I had to get in a lot by myself. I actually want to talk about that for a little bit, actually, just right here in the intro. But first, I want to shout out some people. Yo, we got Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick himself in the house. Much love to you, man. I greatly appreciate you for the prayers and everything, man. It's just a lot of stuff been going on behind the scenes, and all the prayers that get sent up is much appreciated, and much obliged, man. So I appreciate that. Fat Boy Horror, what is going on? You're here every week. We're loving it. We're excited about it. Geezer Prime, what's going on, my guy? Casket Repair, Rescue Squad Cult. Who else we got in here, man? Sick Slayer was in the house earlier. That's about it for people who are currently here, man. If you're in here locked in, loaded, let me know and I can shout you out. But yeah, I just wanted to get into a little bit about Destiny really early on, as just a little bit part of my intro, just because I know you don't have an interest in Destiny like that, and there's maybe not many other people do. But crossplay
There's a lot of people who do. Come on.
Yeah, no, there is. But there's crossplay has been officially enabled. Matt Barnes, what is going on, my guy? But yeah, crossplay has officially been enabled, and that's crossplay for PlayStation, Xbox, PC. It's turned into a whole nightmare, I tell you what. It was to a point where I was playing on PC or whatever, because my brother was like, "Hey man, why don't you just get on your PC and hop on?" I was like, "Hey, I'll do that," because I mean I like to. I like to do it. I get the frames, I get the kind of consistency. It just overall feels better, especially with me playing with the controller. It still feels better. I don't. It's just me. But we were running into an issue to where I was forcing console people to play against PC players, and they weren't liking that. As much as I don't care about it, we were getting smacked around. Again, two people can only do so much carrying when you've got people on PC that seem like all they do is play together. Right. You know what I mean? Like they're playing with different inputs and everything, and yeah, we were just getting smacked around. No matter how many points me and my brother could get, it didn't matter what we could do. We get 25 plus kills a game, still playing the point, playing the objective or whatever else. We were still getting blew out. And it was crazy. It was a crazy experience. And then on the flip side, once I get right back on the console, now we're only playing PlayStation, Xbox people. Right. Like we very rarely run into a PC player. And now everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Steel, I don't know if we could play with you on you're all PC, man." I was like, "What?" I was like, "What's going on?" But no, it's been a good time, man. The competitive nature of it is still up there, you know what I mean? That's what drives me with Destiny, is that competitive nature, the PvP scene. Essentially, that's all I really want to get online to do. I keep trying to get drug into playing PvE content, and I'm like, we'll play it, but I like to have goals when we do that stuff, because I want to get right back into the player versus player content. So, but yeah, man, that's pretty much been it for me as far as gaming and everything. Unfortunately, we can talk about this a little bit too. We'll talk about after the upcoming games and all, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to score a Halo Xbox or an Elite controller, man. I was sad about that. I at least wanted to grab an Elite 2 controller, just because I love my Elite 2s. Does it have some slight problems? Yeah. but it's more so just the nubs on the back of the controller. I don't know if you guys can see this. For those who are watching, sorry for those who are on our listening platforms, but for those who are watching, there's these nubs right here. If you guys can see that right there, those nubs that are on the bottom of the controller that can kind of control they essentially control how far the triggers go down, the trigger locks go engage. Those fall off instantly. If you accidentally touch them, they're gonna fall off. They've fallen off of both my Elite 2 controllers, but other than that, that's the only problem I've had with them. With either of my Elite controllers, I don't have stick drift. I don't have my buttons aren't sticky. It's been the perfect controller that I could ever have imagined this to be. And again, Xbox continues to demonstrate why there's no other better controller. I've held a PlayStation controller in my hands. I've played with the PlayStation 5 controller. I still do not like it personally. And it is what it is.
You're just a hater. You're just a hater.
Hey man, people can call me what they want, but I will never like the PlayStation controller. I will always want to play with an Xbox style controller, mainly because of the sticks and everything. But is what it is. That's neither here or there. Again, man. I don't know if you want to tell the people, have you been into getting into gaming this week? I know you have had a few things we talked about in the background. I know it was potentially aliens you wanted to talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell the people,
I didn't get
man,
a
how
whole
you
lot
feeling?
in, man. I didn't get a whole lot in this week. Obviously, again, busy real life. It is what it is. But however, Aliens Fire Team Elite. It is excellent. This game is better than expected. This game is actually, I don't know what I had expectation wise. I watched the videos, but you never know until you get your hands on things, especially when it comes to AA games from a studio that has never, in Cold Iron, that has never actually done a bigger game before. You never know what you're going to get. Videos, trailers, all that kind of stuff all look great. I watched some of the previews. But you just never know. And this game right here has probably exceeded my expectations. Aliens has been a franchise that unfortunately is probably one of the biggest sci-fi movie franchises of all time, right? Mm-hmm. But it has gotten very little love when it comes to video games. And what I mean by that, there's been plenty of people who have tried, but very few games that have succeeded at capturing that experience. Right. Now, Alien Isolation did an excellent job. I'm not a horror guy, as people know. So I played it, liked what I was playing, but it got to a point where it was too much. And I was like, yeah, no, we're not going to do this anymore. So again, you got to give me weapons. You give me weapons in any horror game. You give me the ability to slaughter whatever is chasing me. We're good. But you make me hide from things that are chasing me. You give me very limited opportunity or options to kill that said thing. Yeah, no, that's not going to work for me. So Aliens Fire Team Elite does a very impressive job all the way around of capturing what Aliens, and I say aliens plural, meaning the second film was all about. You are colonial Marines. Mm-hmm. You are fighting the hordes of aliens, right? Mm-hmm. In different settings. They pull settings from all the movies. Which is very cool. But at the end of the day, it is that action style. It is a co-op multiplayer experience. It does have a story, does have a campaign after you finish the campaign, which consists of four main like campaign settings. And then there's 3 to 4 levels within each one of those to complete. Once you complete that, you open up the horde mode. I have not opened up the horde mode. But I definitely am looking forward to doing so. But it is definitely made to play with people. You can play single player. They give you bots. The bots are okay, but you're going to get into some tight spots because the action that they throw at you, the amount of aliens they throw at you is nonstop. I told you behind the scenes, Steel. Yeah. I was telling you behind the scenes, like I don't have sweaty hands. I'm not one of those guys. I know a lot of people get that. They're, obviously a lot of people when they're playing games, holding that controller, it gets sweaty. I don't. But this game definitely had my palms sweating a little bit because of just the mere fact of just the nonstop intense action they are throwing at you, just like the movies. You feel that way. There was a moment I was playing with Mav and 3-Bit Fun Speculation. Shout out to those guys. we were playing, and we got to a point during one of the levels where we literally, each one of us had run out of ammo. We were calling out to each other going, who's got, we were like, who's got rounds?
Okay.
And none of us did. We were running around with pistols trying to get to the next point where they actually had an ammo crate. So that's how legit this
That's
is
pretty
standard.
dope. I like that.
It's a standard difficulty. We're not
like
even
that.
talking about the higher difficulties
Yeah.
yet. But that's what it gives you. It gives you that real feeling of being under threat at all times. The classes are set up really well. Each one unique. You get different unique skills with each one. The weapons are deep. They have a lot of different weapons with all different kinds of attachments. On top of that, of course, you've got the cosmetic stuff as well. That you can do with those weapons. But you've got a perk system that you have to unlock.
Okay.
And it's got a unique grid. I'm sure people have seen this before in other games, whether it's in inventory or elsewhere, but you've got a grid. So you've got to pick and choose what perks you want to use, and they have to fit within that grid. So again, deeper game than you would expect from a small studio like this. Bugs wise, yes, there are some bugs. I think they just put out a patch last night. I have not been able to try it since, but they have put out a patch to try to fix some of the connection issues that people were having.
Okay.
However, I got to tell you, night one, when it dropped this week, and we all, I was waiting for it to launch at 11 o'clock at night. Mav, Fun Speculation, was ready to rock and roll. We all dropped into a game instantly and started playing. No problem.
That's good.
Yeah. No problems. We had some server problems down the road, and there's been some connection issues which people have talked about online.
Right.
Yes, that has happened. But again, no game-breaking bugs within the game itself while playing. Guns feel fantastic.
That's good.
Movement feels real good. They have a cover system like Gears or The Division. That's the other thing that's cool. As we go through the campaign, again, have not completed the campaign.
Do you actually go into cover, or is it like Ascent style where you just crouch behind cover?
No. You go into cover.
Okay. Because it is third person, right?
Yes, it is third person. Correct. You're not going to use the cover when you're fighting the aliens very much, obviously, because they're all over the place. They're flanking you. They're up on the ceilings. They're on the walls. They're coming. They are coming. But there are other enemies, which I won't spoil for anybody who's playing, that do appear later on, in which you will suddenly revert to cover system. So that mechanic right there, again, with introducing a diverse, wide range of different enemies in a methodical process, is very cool to me. I love that. I love that you get used to fighting aliens and their certain style, and then all of a sudden you meet a new group of enemies which you have to adapt to, and they have a cover system which allows you to adapt to those new enemies. It's very, very cool. Do love that as well. Again, this is definitely something anybody can jump into. I would highly recommend you jump into it with friends. If you are an extreme fan of the franchise, you can play this in single player. I'm just telling you, I've done it myself. It's going to be a grind fest for you. You're going to be definitely need to get your levels up, your weapons up to get to the higher stuff, the higher levels. Because those bots aren't going to be very helpful to you down the road.
So it's one of those where they haven't quite got nailed down the companion mechanic, I guess I should call it, or the bot experience, I guess, that other games kind of have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not bad in any way, shape, or form. I'm just talking about as you move through, eventually it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you because those bots eventually will just get overwhelmed.
Well, I mean, typically in games that were, especially for a dev like this, who it seems like they kind of came out of nowhere, right? This is their kind of like their first real foray into gaming with a big name. And you can kind of tell where that's probably where they fell short with the money. It's probably on that end of it. I was really putting out some solid bots or whatever, some solid companions to give you. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that they did, like I said, phenomenal job from the studio. I would trust the studio to take on any kind of licensed franchise. It's obvious that they get it. And they again, budget wise, they didn't have the AAA budget. They didn't have the AAA time to put into it. But what they chose to focus on really paid off at the end of the day. Like some dev teams will focus on the wrong things.
Right.
And then the rest of the game falls apart. This game at its core is really really good because they focused on the right aspects. There are points in this game as far as details in the environment where
Yeah.
you are going, wow, they really nailed this. There's other
Mhm.
parts that you look at and go, oh, now I can see where the budget came into play, right?
Yeah.
Where they kind of, but the core mechanics that they focused on to get this right, the
Mhm.
music, the atmosphere, getting the alien animations down correctly, that kind of
That's what's
stuff.
important to me. Okay,
That's what's
okay. That's
important,
good to hear.
right? Right. So that's important. Again, the aliens, again, there are times where you go, okay, well, this kind of looks like, last gen or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
But at the same time, there's other times, like I was I was freaking out when I was playing with Mav and 3-bit because we were fighting these aliens, we were fighting the little aliens that were coming. And one of them came up and slashed me. And then he backed down the stairs and was like hissing at me like a cat. You know how they bare their
Yeah, yeah,
teeth
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
they've got they've got that acid
Yeah, yeah,
drool
yeah.
coming. Yeah, all of a sudden it started doing that to me. I was like, what? I was like, what the hell? I'm like, get out of my face. And they kept doing that. Like they'd come up, they'd slash you, they'd back down, and they would be baring their teeth at you. And I was like, damn, all right, okay, all right. So just little touches like that are
Yeah.
great. So again, can't recommend this game enough. It's only $40 for the standard edition. I bought the deluxe edition because I'm a sucker for aliens. I am one of those big alien franchise guys. So I'm a sucker. It's all cosmetic in the deluxe. They've already talked about three DLC drops this
Okay.
year. As far as content goes, they haven't specified outside of some cosmetic stuff, but obviously I believe they're probably going to add some more levels or some more gameplay to this. But again, great first outing for Cold Iron. Shout out to them. They
That's
did
what's
a
up.
fantastic job. $40. Any aliens fans out there, anybody who's looking for a co-op multiplayer right now, I would highly recommend it at $40. I would have zero issue doing that. I think you'll have a great time as long as you've got friends to play with. Again, the solo experience is going to be personal.
Mhm.
It is going to be one of those things. Some people are going to enjoy it. Some people will absolutely say, I can't play this solo. And that's where you're going to find that divide there. But otherwise, yeah, great game. Had a great time this week playing with people. So yeah, Steel, that's
That sounds
pretty much
interesting.
what I do.
That sounds interesting,
Yeah.
man. I mean, you kind of hyped me up a little bit for it because
Yeah.
I am an Aliens fan. I do love that genre. I mean, I'm more of a Predator fan than I'm an Aliens fan. But just knowing the possibilities that has, because I mean, you kind of can't talk about one without the other, right? They always involve each other at some point. But just to hearing that, then it also being a third-person game, that has me extremely intrigued. At $40, that might be something that I slap down or hear download while we're probably doing the show or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know.
it's worth it, man.
I know. I said I was going to cop it before, but I was like, I don't know, because of just those styles games, whatever the case might be. But it being third person, you saying all the great things that you're saying about it, I know it may not be perfect, and I wasn't expecting for it to be perfect either. So it's one of those things, and people are gonna be like, oh well, hey, you should expect more from your games, and it's like, well, I mean, I take what the devs give me, right? Whether
Right.
I'm not saying that they could have done more. I'm not saying that they could have done less. I'll never be the guy to say those types of things because I don't know how that process goes, right? And I don't want to know. I want to be completely oblivious to it because the more I know about it, the more critical you can become of it, or the more I feel like it kind of takes away from your love of gaming over time. You know what I'm saying? When you pull that curtain back more and more, and you're like, well, and then, but at the same time, I also feel like it would also gives you more of an understanding because I do pay attention enough to at least know that, hey, this shit isn't easy, right? They just don't slap things together. I know Unreal makes the Unreal engines make it seem so easy when you go to YouTube and you see all these different videos of people playing in these engines, and you're like, oh man, they're just slapping stuff together. That looks so easy. No, that's not how this shit works. 90% of the time, that's not how it works. There's so much more going on in the background that I feel like people should be paying attention to. But it's good. It's good news, man. Again, that definitely has me hype. Look, $40, man. I mean, people talk about $70 games, $60 games. At $40, who can't complain? As long as they stay true to the IP, right? They got some good mechanics in there. They got the gunplay, especially in a third person game, is something that is extremely important because that's kind of like an afterthought almost, right? Because the first thing you notice is that third person action, and then the next thing is kind of like how do the guns feel after that? Because it's not first person where it's like that's the immediate thing you notice. Right. It's like the secondary thing that you kind of notice. So those are good things to hear, man. And that has me kind of excited for it. So that's what's up. And that's what's up, man. It sounds like you had an interesting week. So
yeah, absolutely busy. And but you know what? I did get a little gaming in. So haven't sat down to Psychonauts 2 yet, which I'm looking forward to this weekend at some point. Again, didn't have I like that's the type of game where I want a chunk of time to sit down and really invest into it. So this weekend I'll be hopping into Psychonauts 2, rave reviews. So happy to see that for Tim Schafer and his team. We talked about this previously too, Steel. Just great to see that this game has lived up to expectations, and Tim Schafer and his team are showing off what they can do now that they have all the funding and backing of Microsoft and Xbox behind them. Right. They are allowed to just take their creativeness to a whole nother level. And now people are talking game of the year quality here. So I can't wait to get into Psychonauts 2, but that'll be happening this weekend. So it's been a great week, Steel. So you want to hop? Should we hop right into upcoming weeks, or you got anything else you want to talk about? I know you played some Hades.
At this current moment, I mean, I've always been back and forth. I've been back and forth with Hades. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna end up beating it just because a lot of times when I end up getting close, I end up talking myself down somehow. Because I mean, I've gotten close several times, at least beating the final boss and everything like that. But I also haven't dedicated like time to it. Either here, especially here recently. Initially when it first dropped on Game Pass, I was playing it every day. I had that whole thing going, and then once I started playing Destiny again, that's kind of been more so the mantle for me versus me just jumping into Hades. It's like every time that I get into a middle of a run, I get an invite, and it's like, I mean, like quick resume works. Don't get me wrong, quick resume works and all, but at like the same time, every time that I do that, it messes me up somehow. Like it's like the rotation that I had going in, it's not the same because I took that break from it, right? So I don't know. But I've been off and on with Hades. Hades has been a good time. But other than that, well, let's get to the upcoming games. Then we'll talk about some of this other stuff, man.
Yeah. We got a lot.
We'll talk about some of this other stuff, though. Yeah, man. So it is about time for this segment where we just tell the people what the upcoming games are, man. I mean, we only got a few. There's not too many before we get into September. Let's see, when does September start? About the 4th? Oh, well, we got a few games we could really talk about. So all right.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like we got some interesting things. So let's roll into that. Let me go ahead and pull that screen up.
And I'm really disappointed in Game Informer right now. So again, I can't. If anybody out there, I swear, anybody who's listening to us, if anybody has a more complete future games list from any site, please let me know. I have hunted down and haven't been able to find anything, but there is a key game that's missing off this list, and that's why this list frustrates me that I use from Game. It's the most consistent one, but it's constantly missing stuff. And there's one on here that absolutely I can't believe it's missing because it's been known for a long time. So this is the stuff that irritates the hell out of me. So if anybody has a site that gives you a really good, complete, updated list of future games coming out, please DM me, send it to me, tweet at me. I don't care what. Just let me know about it because I would love to find a new one that just does a better job here. So anyways, be that as it may, Steel, we are coming up on the week of the 30th.
Talk to him.
So this will be the 30th through the through the 3rd, right? So actually 28. Well, yeah. So we'll do all that. So let's go here. And so starting off on let's get the one out of the way that's missing because that's the biggest one of the week for me personally. So I am going to be selfish and do this, but I think a lot of people agree. So Song of Iron is coming out August 30th.
Yes, facts.
Joe Winter, for anybody who doesn't know, which I believe everybody who's listening to us by now will have seen Joe Winter within the community, whether he's on a show, promoting his game, or whether he's on just a show talking other games. The guy is just a good good dude, a down-to-earth guy who decided to leave the big industry. For you, for anybody who hasn't heard his backstory a little bit, he worked at 343 for about 5 years. He worked on Halo 5. And he also did some designs for Infinite as well, I believe he has stated. So this guy is just a great part of the community outside of being a single dev who decided to leave the big leagues and trek out on his own to create his vision, which is cool. This guy is just like I said, just an impeccable person when it comes to talking games, to being excited about the industry, and just down to earth. So Joe Winter, his game Song of Iron will launch on August 31st. No, it is not in Game Pass for anybody who may be asking themselves that. He would
$20 though, eh?
Yeah, it's like $20. He would love to be in Game Pass. He has stated that publicly. Microsoft, make the call. Phil, call him. Tell him. He will jump in the Game Pass. But anyways, Song of Iron will be out August 31st. You will be seeing tons of stuff on Twitter for anybody who is in the Twitterverse within this community. There's going to be a ton of people promoting it, retweeting, all that kind of stuff. Videos are going to be dropping about it. But this game is special. Outside of just him being a good person, this game is special, and it's going to get a lot of hype. There's going to be a lot of people who discover this game for the first time this coming week and are going to be blown away by what he has done. So cannot wait for Song of Iron dropping August 31st. And then we have Kiwi, this cool little game here. I watched a video on this. Hey, it's honestly kiwi. It's about the birds. Anybody who doesn't know, kiwi is just not a fruit. There is also a bird that's a kiwi, and that's what this is. So it's a adventure game, rated E for everyone. So go check out the videos if you guys are interested. It's coming out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Developer is Stone Wheat and Sons, and the publisher is Sold Out.
They sold out, Pong. Sold out.
Yeah, well, it's a great name for a publisher. Let me tell you, they did a nice job right there. I like that, actually.
You like that?
Yeah, I do. So Kiwi comes out August 31st. Rustler also comes out the 31st of August for PlayStation 4, Xbox, Switch, PC. Obviously, it'll play on current gen consoles as well. This is another action game. I have not looked into this one, but it is published by Modus Games, which have published some decent AA games in the past. So definitely go check them out. Jutsu Games is the developer. That's going to be out August 31st. And then we've got The Big Con coming to series consoles, Xbox One and PC. This looks like, well, I don't even know. Publisher is Skybound, developer Mighty Yell. It's an adventure game. It is rated T for teen. It looks colorful, looks cartoony. August 31st, The Big Con. And then let's see, going into September. I can't believe we're already in September, man. I cannot believe this.
Yeah, man. Right around the corner. Right around the corner.
Man. Okay. We got Lake coming out for Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC. Another adventure game. This is rated mature. I think I have seen videos on this one. Let me take a quick look. This is the one that I think about. This is the one that was highlighted, I believe it might be ID at Xbox. Yes, it is. I believe this is the one. It was highlighted at one of the ID at Xbox shows. A lot of people looking forward to it. Indie game. Go check it out. It's an adventure game, narrative driven. This is the one, I believe, where you were, am I correct, where you were the postman in the mail lady? I can't remember, but anyways, go check out Lake. Definitely a game that I saw and I was like, if I got some free time, I might check that one out. Done by developer by Gamius and publisher Whitehorn Digital.
Hey, and for just a little keynote, it has nothing to do with lakes, but at the same time it does. I don't like big bodies of water. Just want you guys to know that. I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan of it.
I'm glad you said water at the end of that. I thought you were just going to say you don't like big bodies.
Oh well,
You
I
like
mean, I
little-
got a thicker body. I'm a thicker man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't say that I got a big body, but
So
I'm
wait,
a
wait, wait.
thicker
When we're
man.
when we're talking big bodies of water, like how big? Like, are we talking any kind of
Uh,
lake? Anything bigger than a pool? You don't like?
lakes, oceans. Like I like them, but it's part of the reason I think I've never been on a cruise per se, because I just don't like the fact of me being like in the middle of the ocean with nowhere to go. And then just like I can just imagine, maybe it's too many movies, too many games. I know that's what it is. I can just imagine something just popping up out of the water. Maybe it's too much Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know. I can just imagine something popping out of the water. The ocean's a scary place. For something that is so close to us, we know less about the ocean than we know about outer space. I'm just saying. There is
All right.
never know.
We're learning new stuff.
Never know.
Hey,
I'm just like, I just want to talk to you guys.
Secrets.
Maybe we can relate. Maybe we can relate, guys. I'm just throwing it out there. Just if you have ever asked why I've never been on a cruise or like to be on big bodies of water, that's probably why. Would I mind it? No, but I'd like to have an escape plan. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, back to the lake.
I can't believe this. I can't believe
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. I'm just keeping it honest with y'all. You know what I mean?
So on September 2nd, 2021, I don't know how many people played this game, but this game I actually did play on PlayStation or on Xbox 360 back in the day, I should say.
Okay.
I was going to say PlayStation 3, but I actually think I played it on my 360. El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron. I don't know how many people are going to remember this game, but I don't know if it's getting a re-release, if it's getting an update, but it's coming to PC on September 2nd. So anybody who did not get to play this game, I would go check it out. This game is unique in a lot of different ways. Very good game that kind of got lost. I mean, this was before indies were gigantic, right? Before people really were into the indie scene, especially on console, right? So, but there are people out there who believe this is. I've heard people honestly say that they believe that this game is one of the best games of all time.
Okay.
So El Shaddai, go check it out. Go watch the videos on it. There's plenty. Again, it released back in 2011. So this is a 10-year-old game at this point. But this was a unique game. And it's definitely something that people should check out. Not just on PC. If you got your old, I don't know if it's backwards compatible or not. But go find it. Definitely a game worth checking out. For sure. Again, just something different that you might enjoy, especially now. Like I said, people are more into the indie games and look at those type of games differently. I don't think this one got the coverage that it should have back in the day. So definitely something to look forward to if you have not already been able to check that game out. Also coming out September 2nd, Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. So Pathfinder is a pretty big deal on PC. It is a role-playing game. Pathfinder, I believe, launched on Xbox One, I want to say, and PlayStation 4 as well. One of the Pathfinder series. Really good games. So this is the expansion, I think, or the second one. I don't know how they consider this, if they consider it expansion, or if they consider it just a full standalone. But it's coming out. It's coming out on September 2nd for PC. And then next March, we will get it on console.
Okay.
For PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Yeah. Good games, though. If you guys are looking for an RPG to hold you over, if you've played everything, which I know is near impossible, go check out Pathfinder. Because like I said, the other one, I can't remember the full name of it now. I'm blanking. But anyways, that's already out, and I know you can get that right now. So, but this is the Wrath of the Righteous. Then we've got WRC for all you rally racers out there. WRC 10 from KT Racing.
Might step into this one
by Nacon. Oh boy, these are I would consider almost sim more than
almost, yeah.
Yeah, they're
good
pretty
time,
tough,
though.
man.
Good time.
Yeah, they are good time. So that new one is coming out September 2nd for PlayStation 5 series consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And to be announced later on, they're actually going to get this over on the Switch. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to do it. So I don't know how any games go over on the Switch, but they do. So this one will eventually come in there. But WRC 10 is coming out September 2nd. September 3rd, This game is actually interesting. I watched some videos on it. Big Rumble Boxing Creed Champions. So for you guys, for anybody who missed this game coming out, please go check out the videos. Anybody from the Dreamcast era, if you remember Ready to Rumble,
that's basically
the first, dude, I'm not joking. Like, okay, so they've got the Rocky characters, right? That's why it's Creed Champions, right? So they've got all the Rocky characters in here from all the movies. Plus they got some, original AI characters as well. But the style of this boxing game, if you watch the videos, because it's got like, power up punches and just the effects that they have, it does remind me of Ready to Rumble, which was a fantastic game.
Yeah,
one of the launch games for Dreamcast. Loved it. Brought it home opening night, Dreamcast. I don't know. I think we bought like 6-7 games, me and my buddies. Brought home the Dreamcast, but Ready to Rumble, we sat and played for hours that first night. Really, really fun. And this reminds me of it. I hope the videos do it justice, and I hope the videos are actually a good indication of what we're going to play, because if it does play like Ready to Rumble, I ain't going to lie, down the road, I may pick up this game because I love Ready to Rumble and this looks fun as hell.
Yeah, definitely throwback. Yeah, facts.
But it's definitely kind of under the radar. So this was developed and published by Servios. I don't know how they got this. I don't know how they got the license, but obviously they did. But yeah, man, go check out the videos. It looks like a lot of fun. So that actually is on the list. Also, we've got Golf Club Wasteland.
Ooh, there you go.
PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC. This is a futuristic kind of golf. I actually watched some videos on it. Very minimalistic kind of style of golf, but set in the future on, I don't know if it's an alternate planet or if it is a post-apocalyptic Earth, but you're golfing and you got a spacesuit on and stuff. So go check this out. Demigod Studios is the developer. Untold Tales is the publisher. And that is coming out. I think it actually has a story to it too, as well. But it's coming out September 3rd. So it's a little bit more than just a straight up golf game.
Okay.
The Medium, as
there we go.
Xbox fans know very well, the Medium is finally coming to PlayStation 5 on September 3rd. It's got all the updates and upgrades that you would expect with it going over to PlayStation 5. They're going to use the DualSense controller features, all that kind of stuff. Medium is a great game. I played about 80%, 90% of the way through it. I still haven't quite finished it. I'm going to go back to it and finish it at some point, obviously. But the Medium is a great game. Again, more psychological than straight up horror. That's why I could play it, because there wasn't a whole lot of jump scares. There wasn't a whole lot of tense stuff, but a really good story. The writing was very well done. The acting has its up and downs, but overall I would say it's very good. But I love the concept, the dual screen, where you're in two different worlds at the same time, the spirit world and the real world. Really love that aspect of it. Was there points where it's kind of gimmicky or kind of samey as the after a while, do you sometimes say, oh yeah, I've already seen this? Yes, you do. The puzzles aren't overly challenging, but again, good game. Really enjoyed my time with the Medium. And I think that anybody on PlayStation 5 dismissing it because it came out on Xbox first and a lot of people bashed it at that time is doing them a disservice. If they like this style of game, go check it out on PlayStation 5. If you have not had the opportunity to play it on Xbox, it is worth the playthrough for sure.
I'm just expecting it for it to have a higher Metascore on on that console. I mean,
but
it is what it is. I mean, I'm just expecting a lot because again, people tend to forget that games come out one way and then they get updated over time and they re-release on a different platform, or they just re-release overall and then it's completely different at that point. So just something to throw out there, just a little bit of smoke.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, and it will happen. And but you know what? Again, I don't care. Bloober Team is a up and coming development studio. Every game that they do gets better and better. Their games have not been even for me. When it comes to the types of games that they make, this was probably I've played their other games, but never got into them.
Okay.
Whereas the Medium was the first one I really got into. But you can see if you go back and look at their previous games like Blair Witch,
Right.
etc., they've just gotten better and better with each iteration. And Steele, from us talking here, and you've heard me on others, I love that. I love up and coming studios. I
Right.
love studios that show that they're growing together as a team, and that every single game they put out, you can tell that they've learned from their last game and they are building upon that in stages, and they just get better. Bloober is going to be they already are a very good studio. I think they're on their way to be a great studio if they get the right project. Rumors are they now have the Silent Hill IP, and that they are the team that is making the next Silent Hill. If that is true, if that rumor does come to fruition, could not be happier for Bloober. And I think they're going to do an absolutely phenomenal job with that IP. I think they are one of the perfect teams to do that psychological style horror. They hired some combat people to work on it.
Yeah.
Because again, Medium doesn't have really kind of any combat. There's a combat aspect to it, but it's not really combat. So that's one of the things their games have had problems with, is the combat stuff. Right. But they are fixing that. They went out and hired people. They were hiring 4 combat specialists. So can't wait to see what they do with it. If it's true that they do have the Silent Hill IP, it's going to be, I think it'll come out and it's going to surprise a lot of people. And I think a lot of the Silent Hill fans that may be worried that Bloober has it because they haven't appreciated what Bloober's done in the past is going to be pleasant. They are going to be pleasantly surprised, because Bloober, again, is one of those ascending studios that just gets better and better with time. And as they get more resources as well. And I think with the Silent Hill IP, they're going to show the world that they're ready for the main stage. So I can't wait. But go check out the Medium on PlayStation 5 again if you haven't had a chance on Xbox. And I think that is it for the week, according to Game Informer. I'm sure there's other games that probably were missed because, again, that's what we get when we do these lists. But I think we got a good portion of them. So, yeah, man, lots of good stuff coming out again. Song of Iron, August 31st. Joe, again, go watch videos. I'd be surprised if anybody in our chat does not know about Song of Iron, but if you don't, anybody who's listening out there later, go check out Song of Iron for sure. If you like what you see, go support Joe. He is a worthwhile, one of those devs that you definitely want to support because he's just a great person overall. But again, can't wait for that game. I definitely will be jumping into that next week.
100%, man. I mean, again, like we come back in here every week. The whole point of the upcoming game segment is to show you guys things that you continue to be excited for, right? Because us not being a console-centric platform, we have the freedom to talk about whatever we want to talk about. Not only that, but me and Pong, I'm sure I can speak for us both. We care about gaming as a whole. I know it could be a joke for some people who might not think that, or feel like that you have to play one side of the line or whatever the case might be. Now, that's not necessarily true. I mean, do we both have a preference, just like anything else that you do in life, whether cars, shoes, clothes, whatever the case might be? You're gonna have preferences, and that's okay. But we're also of the same cloth that there's so much of a bigger picture out there that we want to pay attention to, that we want to draw attention to. Again, talking to those 3 billion gamers, right? Or the 2.5, whatever we want to consider them, just because that's the bigger picture. We want our community to grow. We want our ecosystem to grow. We want it to, be so much bigger than what it is right now. And we're already the biggest form of entertainment. We just want to take it that next step forward. Again, before we move forward, I do want to, again, shout out some people in the chat. Again, another big reason why we do this is because we want to show the people some love, man. Y'all show up week by week. Y'all are constantly active in the chat. We couldn't ask for a better chat, man. Like, really, honestly, as 2 guys who are 22 episodes in, we could not ask for a better chat. I go to these other shows sometimes and I'm peeping and I'm creeping on, watching the, other people's shows and whatnot. Even though I'm busy and I don't have as much time to listen and pay attention as I used to, but there's people that have been doing this for a while that don't get the same attention, don't get the same traction, or don't even talk about it the same way that we talk about it. Mainly just with the passion, the energy, the authenticity, that live, raw, organic, uncut nature that, you know, me and Pong can bring you. And I feel like that's something that's extremely important. You guys add to that. Again, we definitely want to see you guys become more active, throw questions out there, talk about different things. Again, I would love for this show to not only be driven by the topics throughout the week, but also by the chat. The reason being is just because we have a bigger connection, right? The more of a connection we can have with the chat, and it's going to be a double-edged sword, because one day, let's just say we have thousands of people watching or whatever. Let's say if it happens, right?
Millions.
That too. But if we had all these people watching, we wouldn't be able to answer everybody's questions. So at that point, we'd have to go into the background and see what we could do about that. But for the meantime, between time, we love you guys' engagement. We love talking to y'all. We love seeing you guys' opinions. The chat is always moving, so that's something that's like, it's a motivational piece for us. It's a motivational piece for us for sure. But shout out to General C, Stubbs Gaming, ATL, the Sly Crow, Six Slayer, Mr. Fun Speculation himself, Mav7, Grace Simmons. What is going on, my guy? Just Key, Leonardo was jumped in here. He seems to be new. I don't think I've seen Leonardo in here before. ATL, Fat Boy Horror. I know I seen Stanley Francois in here. Where did he go? Geezer, shout out to you, man. You're here every week, man. Much love to y'all. I think I shouted out Sly Crow already. Much love to you, man. Other than that, if you're still here, locked in, tuned in, back from the dead as I'm scrolling up, what's going on, my guy? If you're in here, still rocking with us, hit that like button, share us out, tell your mama about it, tell your girlfriend about it, tell whoever you need to tell about it, and let them know that Living Split Screen goes live 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, and 3 p.m. UK time every Saturday. With that being said, Pong, there's some interesting things that we could get into this week, man. Gamescom. Some other slight rumors out there. Multiplayer for some games are finally starting to get worked on. Battlefield has some updated news. It seems Nintendo even has something that pulled my interest a little bit, right? But we got some things to talk. We got some things to talk about from a few different angles. But I guess one of the points that we could start off with, and you could tell me if you want to go a different direction or not, man. Since I talked about the whole Destiny crossplay thing, because I know we've broken this down into sections, right? We want to talk about all the non-game talk, right? Even though it's still game related. Yeah. Right. Before we dive neck deep into Gamescom and everything. Yeah, games, right? Literally. Yeah. But just to knock out a couple things real quick, let's dive a little bit into talking about the whole Battlefield. Let's talk about the Battlefield Portal situation really quickly. Okay. And then we'll jump into the cloud thing after that. Right after that, I think it'll be a good little transition right there. Yeah. So with this whole Battlefield 2042, man, how you feeling about this whole Portal situation? Them making it seem like it's going to be kind of like a snap together kind of thing. You can just get Legos and piece it all together to create your best Battlefield experience that you could have ever imagined. How you feeling about that, man? What are you thinking? You feeling something along the same lines that you felt before? Excited, kind of on the fence?
No,
what's going on?
I'm hyped. I think this is going to be great. For anybody who doesn't know, because there's been a lot of news this week, there was another interview that Ripple Effect Studios, who is working on the Portal portion of Battlefield 2042, actually did an interview with Play UK magazine that came out and gave some little tidbits, just a little bit more talk about what you're going to be able to do, what you're not going to be able to do within Portal. And I'm reading this from SeriousGaming.com, who kind of did like an overview of that entire interview. So let's just read this off here. Ripple Effect Studios Justin Wiebe explained to Play UK magazine in its latest issue that the builder in Battlefield 2042 Portal will give you a lot of power in making changes and creating a whole new game mode. Okay, but it should be within the world that the game presents. It means that it will be limited to the rules in the game, but you are free to make almost any kind of changes to your specification. Weeby shared that players can change a lot of things in Builder, like adjusting speed, health regeneration, time to kill, jumping, crawling, ducking, turning off the HUD, and tons more. They wanted to give you the kind of they wanted to give this kind of power to the players because many fans have been complaining about how the next Battlefield should be. Some suggested that it should be more like Bad Company 2.
Mhm.
Others would say it would be great if it was World War I themed, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
To finally settle this problem once and for all, one of the guys from Ripple Effect suggested the players should make their own rules instead, so they can recreate their favorite game mechanics of a certain title from the Battlefield series and share it with everyone. The article goes on. It was not a good idea. It was the best idea because it is a win-win situation for both parties. Builder is also easy to navigate with templates already available for those interested in making their own game modes.
Mhm.
From there, the building blocks can be connected with others if compatible. If not, it will ask the user to change another block or make changes first before trying again. It is now way easier to make a game mode for everybody to enjoy. So we got a little bit of information. Yeah, got a little new. So they're going to have it set up kind of like with coding blocks where you can piece the different rules together and change things within those rules. And the portal itself, the builders, they're calling it here, portion will tell you if things aren't compatible. So you're not going to make a broken game mode, right? So this is kind of a cool deal. Again, I'm not a big Forge guy. There's a huge portion of the Halo community, which we're gonna, obviously talk about Halo later.
Yeah.
But Forge became huge for Halo, right? We got some we got some official game modes that came out of Forge. So I think it's cool anytime that a developer gives the community, who is full of passionate fans, who is full of creative fans,
Right.
the ability to go in and do this kind of stuff. Now, you're not going to be able to map edit. You're not going to be able to change all that yet. Again, who knows down the road where they decide to go with this. This becomes a big deal. We don't know that we won't eventually get a Battlefield Forge style where you can edit the map and create your own stuff. But for right now, they're going to limit it, right? But at the same time, like they were just talking about in this article, this was in response to the fans out there and how many Battlefield fans like so many different aspects of different games that have been part of the Battlefield series.
Right.
And they've been clamoring for, again, I'm one of the ones, Bad Company for me, best portion of Battlefield series of all time. Battlefield Company 2. Battlefield Company 1 is probably number 2 for me. I love the Battlefield. I love the Battlefield Bad Company style of gameplay.
Right.
So if I want to go create my own version of that within the maps that they provide, I can do that. I can create the rule set. I can go alter things that I want to.
Yep.
Right. That's awesome that they listened to the fans and said, hey, you know what? Fine. You guys want all this different stuff. We're going to give the ability to go do it. Go do it. Share it out with the community and we'll see what hits and what doesn't hit. This is a great thing for not only the fans, but also the developers, because DICE, EA, Ripple Effect, all these guys that work on this project get to see what is popular and what's not popular, not only within what they've created, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be able to see engagement. If all of a sudden somebody comes up with just a fantastic game mode out of the blue, using one of the maps that are already in there, and they just come up with something that hits the community hard, people start streaming it, it's starting to get a ton of engagement, just like Halo did with Forge. They're going to be able to say, let's make that an official gameplay, right? Let's make that an official mode within Battlefield. They're going to be able to see what's working and what's not working. And they're, because of the size of the community, because of how many people are so passionate about this stuff, there's going to be at least one or two that hit really big with the community. And DICE and EA are going to be able to say, awesome. That's something we never thought about, or maybe it's something that we did think about, but we didn't think that was going to be that big or that popular.
Right.
Next thing you know, it's an official game mode.
Right.
Love this, everything about it. I love hearing more about this. I'm hyped for Battlefield 24. It's going to be my main. It's going to be my main play this year when it comes to first-person shooters. Yes, I will be playing Halo, but as everybody who listens to me knows, I'm a casual Halo fan. I'll definitely be jumping in there. I'm excited about Halo, but Battlefield is my bread and butter. Battlefield, I've been playing. Oh, I didn't mention that during what I was been playing this week, but I have hopped back into Battlefield 4 pretty hardcore as well myself. I've been playing a lot of matches in there, getting back used to that style, in preparing myself for when Battlefield 2042 comes out. So I can't wait for Battlefield. This is just going to increase the lifespan of Battlefield 2042. As far as engagement goes, even though they're talking about they're going to have a ton of DLC for us, they're already planning a ton of different things. When you get the community involved like this, you're going to have even bigger legs as long as it performs well. And again, that's always the key. And we know with Battlefield in the past, there has been issues with performance, but as long as they've got the servers and everything else working right, this kind of mode just gives it more legs down, for a longer period of time. Yeah. I can't wait. I really can't wait. What do you think, Steel? What do you think?
I'm on the lines of where Just Key is at, man. Excuse me, where he says I need Battlefield right now, and he's absolutely right. It's exactly how it makes me feel, man. I'm also I'm up there with Battlefield, man. I've been playing Battlefield since Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3 on a PC. So it's like my love for Battlefield is up there. Is up there with Halo, right? I always try to play that. That's why I kind of like when they don't come out around each other, because I can give one more attention than I can the other. Whereas like this year, I'm gonna have to really fight for it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to see which one is really gonna pull me either way, because it can go either way. And it also depends on the homies, right? And then how much Halo just really hits it out the park for me. Personally, it's exciting news again, because they didn't have to do it this way. They didn't have to give the players access to create their own Battlefield, right? They could have blocked this away into whatever DLC or locked it away into whatever price for you to pay for it to unlock, for you to have these options. Now, what this is going to do is, like I agree with you, Pong. Well, a lot of it, what it has the possibility of doing is saying, hey, there's these other game modes that you could possibly add in, and there could be a great addition to an already solid game. I personally think, excuse me again, that they're going to focus hard on the whole 2042 aspect of the game. That's all the DICE is going to focus on. What makes Battlefield great has always been the server browser. The server browser is going to have more variety than it has ever had before. Because the server browser, you can literally go in and choose the exact kind of game mode or game style, game type, whatever that you're trying to play. You want to play some Conquest? Cool. You already got a match that's already full for the most part. You got one spot. You're that last person. Get in there. You got a rush. You got team deathmatch. You got all these different game modes that you can add in there. And now you have different styles of gameplay. Because let's face it, when you have different guns and you evolve different styles of guns, you involve different gameplay. 2042 guns aren't going to be the greatest. Are probably going to be way overpowered compared to your World War II style guns, right? It just makes sense. I mean, modern era versus almost 200 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it puts a lot of things in perspective or whatever the case might be. And I see that Battlefield is really trying to take it up to that next level. It's an exciting thing to me because, we always go up and down with DICE. Battlefield's always kind of been up and down. Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 4 are the two Battlefields that really, when people think about, those are the two that always get brought up. Those are the two that always get spoken on, other than if you've been playing Battlefield previously, of course, you're going to speak on those also. But when people talk about Battlefield, these are the ones that get brought up a lot. And just seeing all this variety and all these options that they're adding in, it's insane, man, because again, they didn't have to do this, right? But giving people access and giving people variety and giving people the want for creativity, right? Because that's what it's going to create. It's going to create a want for creativity. And seeing that server browser just be more expansive than it's ever been before. Them going to, because let's face it, they're going to have to have more servers available probably than they've ever had to have before. There's going to be more people buying servers. Again, it's going to do nothing but help them in the long run, right? I feel like EA might see that play also. DICE probably brought it to them like, look, man, I think people are going to be all over the place trying to constantly rent servers out, constantly get that money flowing in. Who knows how the cosmetic side of everything is going to be. Hopefully it goes well. I've been hearing some great things about the whole tech preview that was for Battlefield that seemed great. I don't want to put nobody out there, no names or nothing like that. But I've been hearing some good things, but also some performance things that need to be worked on. So,
yeah, of course.
we'll see. Hopefully everything works out well. Again, I'm excited for it just as much as I am for Halo or any other game that's going into the end of this year. So it's an exciting thing to for sure.
Yeah, jumping back into Battlefield 4. Really, again, the servers are full. It's not like it was when it's not like it was when it was heyday, but everybody's kind of gone back to it again because they're getting ready for 2042, all the Battlefield fans.
Right.
So you can always find a full game, whether it's Conquest or whether it's a smaller team deathmatch. You can always find something. And I gotta say, going back and playing Battlefield 4 again reminded me of all the reasons why I love Battlefield. It's been so long since we've had that modern era Battlefield. Right. But honest to God, Steel, there is nothing. I posted a clip on Twitter. I don't know if it was last week or this week. It's all a blur right now. But anyways, I posted to it from playing. There is Mav. Let's see. Was that? God, I don't even remember. Anyways, was playing the game. There's just no better feeling than taking dog tags in Battlefield. I'm sorry.
No, it's better than it is in Call of Duty. Way better than Call of Duty.
way better. There is very few games that give you that feeling. Halo with the assassinations was close.
That's one thing. Yeah.
That was close, just because you had the whole, but it's not Battlefield, man. When you go sniper hunting, because that's one of my favorite things to do. When you got those guys out there that are just sniping from those positions, and you get around behind them, you come up on that group of fools sitting way up, that have just been sitting there picking off your entire team, and you take them tags. There is just nothing better, and that is such a great feeling to get those, to get the little animation clip. However you come up on them and you roll them over as they're laying down, and you stick your knife in them, and then their dog tags pop up on your screen. Man, that's a great feeling. I like I said, going back and playing Battlefield 4 brought back all the old feelings again. And it got me even more hyped for 2042 than I am already. So yeah, can't wait, man. I'm glad you're hyped too, because we're gonna be getting down in that game a lot. So for sure. So
that's 100%, man. Well, and with that being said, I guess this could be a good leeway into getting a little bit about into the whole cloud gaming scenario, right? Again, we want to just kind of ease into the topics or whatever before we just hit y'all out the park with games. But this whole cloud gaming scenario, right? We're kind of seeing with Halo, and we can definitely lead into this conversation after this. Or we can talk about the one other thing that I feel like is important to talk about, unless you kind of want to do a vice versa. The whole the competition apparently all of a sudden working on this multiplayer game. Or we can start off with this cloud game. What you think, Pong? Where you want to take the people?
Well, let's do the factions one real quick, and then we'll get into cloud gaming. You go ahead. Start with because factions was huge for you. Anybody who doesn't know, Steel was a gigantic Last of Us factions player. I like the single player. I never got into factions, but Steel was the opposite. So Steel has been missing factions for quite a long time. So I know you got a lot to say about it, brother. So you go ahead with the new news coming out that not new. We knew this was happening, but we kind of got a little bit of expanded, and it sounds like it's definitely going to be something a little bit more than it was in the past. So go ahead.
So apparently Sony is looking for people to work on a multiplayer game that they're not saying the name for, but we all know is Factions. For a standalone multiplayer game. And I was looking for the article. I had it pulled up because I really wanted to break it down, talk to the people about it, but apparently I can't bring it up right at this moment. So I'm just going to go about it the best way I can. If you could slide that to me, Pong, when you get a chance, that would be greatly appreciated. But
which article do you remember where you were looking at it?
No, I don't remember where I was looking at it.
I'll slide you something.
Look, man, my entire point. One of the reasons I wanted to talk about this because everybody's been talking about Halo, right? Everybody's been talking about the multiplayer and just other multiplayer games in general, right? And seemingly, it's funny to me how we continue to have this conversation on one side of the fence, but we never take this conversation to the other side of the fence. We never look across the street. We never take that walk across the street, actually, to look at that other piece of land that has, mansions sitting on top of it and everything else, but seemingly has a leak somewhere in the grass. There's, for some reason, the grass doesn't get properly watered all the time. And nobody ever wants to figure out why. We just kind of sweep it out on the rug and just say, hey, man, we'll get to it when we get to it. There was a Twitter post that I saw the other day where they were talking about that they were hiring. That Naughty Dog was going to be hiring for development they're ramping up development for their multiplayer game. Now, their standalone multiplayer game, again, they are not saying that it is factions. But again, will you know what it is? But appreciate you, Pong, for sliding that article to me. Guys, this is actually the exact article that I was talking about.
Okay.
So
good. I was going to slide you the other one. There was a couple.
No, this is excellent.
Yeah.
Eurogamer is definitely somebody we could trust. So, and I definitely appreciate you sliding it to me because Eurogamer is definitely what I was looking at before. So I kind of want to go run off of some of these things. I'm going to read a little bit to you guys. Again, like Pong said, I was a huge Last of Us guy, right? The first Last of Us was an amazing game to me. But the only reason that I ever ended up playing the first Last of Us was because of me watching my cousin playing the multiplayer and him knowing how big of a Gears fan that I was, or that I am, because I put him on Gears, and him saying, hey man, I know you love Gears. I think you would really be into this game. And seeing how the craft system was working, him going around the corner, putting together a little bomb, you know what I'm saying? And then throwing it at the enemy, or him putting a shiv on the stick, running up on somebody and just hitting them upside the head and seeing the animation of it slamming into somebody's dome piece. And it's like an insta kill. Those things excited the hell out of me and forced me to get that PlayStation 3 at the time, because that's what it originally released on. I didn't play it on PlayStation 4. But that's what forced me to get a PlayStation 3 towards the end of its life cycle, because that's when Last of Us came out. And I was completely enthralled in it. It was one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had, and as far as gaming goes, not only on the multiplayer side, because again, I'm one of those gamers where, because of the multiplayer, I played the story, I played the campaign, and I love the campaign, I love the story, I love everything that they're doing, but it's not enough for me to be like, oh yeah, let me get the next system. I mean, again, I've told this story before. That game told me, especially after beating the campaign and everything, and being really involved with that multiplayer, I told myself at that point, if the next game that comes out, because we all knew it was coming, but when the next game comes out, if it does not have multiplayer, I will not buy it. So fast forward the story a bit. Naughty Dog told everybody that faction was going to be part of Last of Us 2 when it released. That got pushed back. It didn't end up happening. They said, hey, we're working on this in the background. We'll get some news to you. We never heard anything. Now we're going into almost 2 years later, and now we're coming to find out that apparently, because I know me and Pong had this thing we talked about a little bit in the background, and I believe we even talked about it on the show, where we felt like, you know, they were going to include it with the remaster, right? Because they're already remastering Last of Us 2.
The director's cut.
The director's cut. Sorry. It's not a remaster. Sorry. I apologize. Director's cut. Let me correct myself. Right. Well, they said they're going to have a director's cut for Last of Us 2. So we're like, yeah, man, I'm expecting for them to just release factions with that, this, that, and other thing. It's not whatever. It is what it is. Cool. Now it's coming to be that it's going to be a standalone, which is really questionable for me. Again, do I have like my doubts that it's going to be good or whatever? No, I think it's going to be good. But for me, it's the point that everybody likes to look across the fence and talk about every other multiplayer game that exists or that is known for on your competitor's platform. But then when it comes to your own home base, you're just like, multiplayer games, whatever. And it just gets shrugged off. And the fact that throughout this week, and again, I just saw this news yesterday. I don't see anybody bringing up a Twitter space, starting a thread, getting on Reddit, saying that, oh man, where's this multiplayer been this whole time? How crazy is this? That they're just going to be standalone now? Oh, there's what did they say about Halo? They said that
Dead on Arrival.
Well, not that,
Oh,
not that.
okay.
You took that extreme. But no,
They did say that.
They did
Yeah,
say that.
go
They did say that. But nobody else is out here saying, "Hey, there's a key component missing to my game."
Right, incomplete.
My game is incomplete. Oh, since the story was good, which is still debatable, everybody's still on the fence about it. I'm not going to play the game until the multiplayer comes out. And if the multiplayer doesn't come packaged with the game, I'm not going to play the game. I'll play the multiplayer. So on one part, for me, it's a turn off because for that reason, right? Again, if you want to say, oh, that's an excuse, you should play the game anyway, whatever the case might be. I play games how the fuck I feel like playing games. Excuse my French.
100.
And that's just what it is. If I'm interested in something, I know what I stand for as a gamer. You should know what you stand for as a gamer and what you're interested in, right? That's the whole point of this. How can we have solid conversation if you don't know what you stand on? And then Leonardo says it's probably gonna be $70. I hope not.
Oh yeah.
I hope not.
Oh, if it's a standalone,
if Factions is going to be $70 by itself, we have a deeper problem. And again, it's hard for me to kind of walk that plank also because I'm also the guy who spent $110 on Battlefield, which is only going to be a multiplayer only game. So I'm not going to be, as I feel what you're saying, Leonardo, I cannot 100% agree with you because if it looks great, if I feel like it's going to play great, and if I'm excited about it, I will more than likely pay that money. It is what it is. I'm guilty of it. If I like it, I love it, and I'm gonna put that. It's to each your own, right? Everybody stands for what they stand for. A problem for me is that things like this don't get discussed on one side of the fence, and I never get why that doesn't happen. Everybody wants to say they're neutral. Everybody wants to say that they're just gamers, but they don't talk about the same sides of the fence, but also don't want people to compare either system or games to each other or whatever the case might be. And most of it from OBS said it's reconnected now. Hopefully the connection
I'm watching
looks
live.
good.
We're good.
Oh.
Yeah, we're looking good.
OBS said
we had a little bit of a hiccup in there, but nothing
yeah,
major.
OBS said it disconnected for some reason. I mean, I'm looking good on my side. But anyway, just to dive right back into it knee deep. But Eurogamer starts off like this. It says, we don't know much about this new multiplayer game. It's Factions. Okay, but anyway, although co-game director Vinit Agarwal, I believe that's how you say his name, took to Twitter to say, apply if you want to be part of bringing the cinematic experience between players in our new standalone multiplayer action game. The cinematic experience between players sounds like an interesting idea. Naughty Dog's Uncharted and The Last of Us series are two of the more cinematic video game franchises around. Naughty Dog is no stranger to multiplayer, of course. 2013's The Last of Us had a competitive multiplayer mode called Factions. Oh, did it? Okay. And Uncharted 4 launched in 2016 with a competitive multiplayer mode for up to 10 players. Now, I've never been an Uncharted fan. Again, is an Uncharted a good series? Yeah, sure. But I've never been the biggest Uncharted fan. I've never had a chance to play the multiplayer games. Now, if they released one this day, in these days and eras, it might be a little bit different. I might look at it and see what's up. But there's always been other multiplayer games that pulled my attention way before that did. But anyway, they say you will eventually experience the fruits of our team's online ambition, but not as part of the Last of Us 2. Naughty Dog says at this time. Y'all, I mean, for those who watch it, can you just like see my face? Can you see my eyes that I'm making? You will eventually, I just want to repeat this, guys. It bothers me. It really does. You will eventually experience the fruits of our team's online ambition, but not as part of The Last of Us 2. Naughty Dog says at this time. When and where it will be realized, is still to be determined, but rest assured, we are as big of a fan of Factions as the rest of our community. You are a fucking liar. That's not the case. Because if that was the case, this game with this whole other mode that you promised your gamer at the beginning would have released some point around when The Last of Us 2 came out. It would have happened. Now, I could be taking this in a completely wrong direction. Let me know. If I'm going crazy, let me know. Could it be Uncharted? Could it be some Uncharted multiplayer gameplay? Maybe.
Yeah.
It could be. But Naughty Dog is specifically hiring for a multiplayer standalone experience. And 2 plus 2 doesn't always equal fish. It equals 4. So in this specific situation, it has to be the factions. Even though they're not saying that specifically, 9 out of 10, I'm pretty sure 90% out of 100, I'm pretty sure they're talking about faction. And this is something that just bothers me because, of course, this isn't Naughty Dog's only project. This is something they also go on to say. In April, Bloomberg reported Naughty Dog is working on the Last of Us remake. And in the same report, Bloomberg also said a team within Days Gone developer Sony Bend was helping Naughty Dog with a multiplayer game. No doubt the multiplayer game Naughty Dog is now hiring for. So we're talking about factions. So they pulled Bend off of working on Days Gone, saying, "Hey, we don't want a Days Gone 2 because it didn't do that great." To saying, "Hey, we need you to work on this multiplayer game." Why? Because they made a third person over their shoulder action game also. So they need all the third person action adventure game people on one end to make a solid multiplayer experience. All of a sudden, even though they did it just fine the first time, and now coming out almost 2 years later, you're getting a whole other half of your game that was a promise to you originally, told that it was coming out at some point soon, and then now are being told that we're hiring and we're working on it. We don't have an idea of when. Because I was hoping like, oh man, maybe PlayStation's gonna have a release for it sometime this year. Maybe that's the next thing they're gonna talk about. Factions this winter. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm excited for that. I would have got a PlayStation for that. I would have been over the moon for it. But now it's coming across like this is something that was completely sidelined. This is something that they completely dropped the ball on. Maybe they were working on in the background or whatever, but have not been actively developing on as far as giving us something tangible to work with. We have seen nothing from this. Zero. For something that was promised to us at launch, to then something that was promised to us soon, to something that was promised to us like, we'll get it, it's coming, to now it being, we're hiring, we've seen zero. And that is a problem to me because I'm a fan of Naughty Dog. I'm a fan of The Last of Us. I'm a fan of PlayStation, the things that they do over there. But PlayStation continues to show me why I can never take them serious as far as a console that can drive a service or drive a consumer to stay invested in their ecosystem. You're showing me again why I can see right through it. Unfortunately, I wish that I can feel more invested into Sony than I am. And I'm not. Between PC and Xbox, and Switch, because I also have that in the household as well. Between those three and Switch, Nintendo's a whole different conversation by itself, which we could talk about for hours. But between, we're just going to use Xbox and what PlayStation has going on. Between the two, Xbox has more of a, whether you want to say whatever you want to say about Game Pass, but even before Game Pass, Xbox has more of a retention rate for its consumer than any other company does, other than Nintendo. So I'll just keep it at PlayStation. Than PlayStation has ever had. It does. If it wasn't for free-to-play games, I don't know where the retention rate for PlayStation would be at, to be completely honest. Other than that, because of multiplayer games and because of Xbox taking advantage of multiplayer experiences is why people continue to invest into the ecosystem. For me, it's about ecosystems, right? When I had my PlayStation 4, the reasons I didn't play it after I got done playing Gundam Breaker 3, after I got done playing Spider-Man, after I got done playing God of War, even though I didn't beat the game because it bored the living shit out of me, I feel like the other God of Wars were better, and I didn't beat those either.
Hot takes everywhere today. I like it.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm keeping it real. But the ecosystem, the reason I didn't stay invested in the PlayStation 4 ecosystem because they didn't give me enough of reason to stay invested. There's nothing there, especially multiplayer wise. But I'm a multiplayer gamer. Again, that's another perspective that that also has to be understood. you had nothing there to hold me into that experience other than factions. And I'm not going to play factions from a game that I was playing on PlayStation 3. And then 2 years later down the line, when I have my PlayStation 4, 3 years later, when I have my PlayStation 4, this factions wasn't the reason why I was getting a PlayStation 4. It was Gundam Breaker 3 that was that reason. I was really feeling for a Gundam game and I wanted that. And then it turned into Spider-Man, and then it turned into all these other games around it, right? And Luke Steele has an interesting take. He says, I think the intention is whatever the game, presumably Factions 2, is that it increased in scope at some point, hence pulling Ben in to help. I don't think it increased in scope. I just think they didn't give a fuck about it. Blatantly. They didn't give a fuck about it until now. And so now when you're hearing things on the back end saying, hey, where you see the heads of Sony say, hey, well, it's more important for us to have people invested in our ecosystem. Console sales don't really matter to us like that. We want people to be invested in our ecosystem. Duh. Now get the rest of your people, or the rest of your tryhards, or the rest of your people that like to just sit on the saddle and be on that same fence to get that understanding so that we can continue to push gaming forward. Because whether you like it or not, single players are going to die off if you don't give people a reason to invest in your ecosystem. It's going to happen. Whether you want to agree with that or not, it's completely up to you. That's up to y'all. Y'all can see how you want to see it. But single player games will become extinct if there is not a reason to constantly invest in that ecosystem, i.e. multiplayer games, i.e. the reason that Sony has been looking into getting something to stand on their 2 feet for. It's just part of the reason I want to talk about this is just because it's frustrating to me, man. Factions is something that I was highly interested in when it came out. I put a lot of time and I put a lot of energy, put a lot of effort into. You can even say that I was a try hard with it. I was one of those guys that, I was one of those guys that was always coming around the corner hitting somebody with a shiv on a stick, not playing. But I'm over there crafting in the corner, the grenades and whatnot, crafting them and whatnot. So it's like, I was excited for this to come out at some point soon. I was excited to hear some news about it at least this year that, hey, it's coming out. It's right around the corner. We want to, start running that hype train up, but it doesn't seem to be that way. And it's just kind of a turnoff to me because people always look at one side. They always say the grass is greener on the other side, but every time that I look at the other side and look at that grass a little bit closer, it continues to look like it just got sprayed over. That it's not real grass. It's not healthy grass. It's just grass that's got painted to look like it's green. So, and I feel like that's an unfortunate thing. Pong, how do you feel about this entire situation? With everything that's been going on, this game now being out for going on 2 years, them promising us the multiplayer, then, pushing it back to now it being seemingly still in heavy development. How do you feel about this entire situation, man? What you thinking?
Well, like I said, I don't have any personal investment into factions like you do at all, but you made some great points, Steele. I think that, look, we're seeing a shift. If you just take a step back and you look at this, as far as what Sony's doing, I think you're seeing a shift in their thinking. Finally, I think that they, and it's not good for the fans like yourself who have to wait for this shift to happen because it's a slow turning ship at this point for Sony, and trying to adjust their sales to a new way of thinking and a new way of looking at business. And I think that's what, again, we've talked about on this show. I've talked about it elsewhere, but that's why Jim Ryan won out in the power struggle. Back over Sean Layden, right? So I think Jim was brought in for this exact reason, that they saw the tides turning, and for better or for worse, they knew eventually they were going to have to adjust course and they were going to have to fix what their weaknesses were. The engagement that they see in their games is short-lived, like you said, because of its single player aspect. Now they have developed a extremely loyal base of fans, which you always have to have in any situation. And that loyal base will defend them till the day they die. because they love those single player experiences, which fantastic. Again, they do it as well, if not better than anybody. They have a set of studios that know the exact formula to use when creating a game, and it works extremely well. And it's done, wonders for their bank account when it comes to that success. And they've developed a loyal fan base that will stick by their side because they want that experience. However, they are missing out on a much larger player base
Right.
that comes with what you were talking about with engagement and ongoing investment into an ecosystem. They are heavily reliant on third parties to do that. And they've done a masterful job when they align themselves with Call of Duty to supplement that area that they are very weak in. Because, when you're talking about, Steel, when you brought up the point that people, sticking into that ecosystem and not having a reason to, right now, the only reason to stick into that ecosystem outside of the single player experience is because all of your friends are on PlayStation and you want to play Call of Duty with them, right?
Yeah,
Or you
for sure.
want to play Madden with them, or whatever the case may be. And that's why they obviously, as we well know, and is documented now as proven fact, have pushed hard against crossplay, right? We know for a fact, and that's one of the reasons why. Because if people are open to play with their friends elsewhere, you are going to have a certain percentage that do walk away from your ecosystem and say, no, you know what? I like what Xbox is offering over here a little bit more. And I can still play those big major third party titles with my friends, on PlayStation. So even if my friends don't want to leave, I can still leave and I can still play with them, no problem, right? And Sony realized that. And that's why they push hard against this crossplay. That was a business decision. That's not just about the cash grab. That's not just about charging companies to enable crossplay as another stream of revenue. That's a side kind of effect of that. But their main, I can guarantee you, one of their main considerations or one of their main concerns when it comes to crossplay was, well, we really don't have any first party multiplayer games that keep people engaged for extended years that people are going to be worried about leaving if they leave PlayStation and go elsewhere, right? That's the big problem. So I think what you see here with Factions is that they realize they have a limited, now that they killed off Killzone, right?
Yeah.
Killzone is no more. That was supposed to be the Halo killer. It never turned out to be. I still thought it was a great game. I actually enjoyed some of the multiplayer aspects of that game. And they should have continued down that road. They should have continued developing it. But again, they chose not to because, again, the success of PlayStation 4 kind of meant they didn't have to. But now that they see the tide shifting, they have to get back to that. And there's very few opportunities they have for first parties. We've seen them now partner with brand new studios. At least one of those brand new studios that they are funding and helping is developing a multiplayer game for Sony. But they do have Uncharted, the multiplayer, which I actually played more than I ever did of Factions, which was good. And they have Factions. And like you said, Steel, that is something that people were clamoring for, that they promised. But at the end of the day, they made the business decision, I believe. Again, this is just all whatever else. We're just looking at facts from a satellite point of view of what we do know versus what we don't know. The rest is obviously speculation town, but I love spending time there. But you got to see that they saw this property in Faction. They saw this IP in Faction as something that they could take out of Last of Us and develop into a full-fledged multiplayer experience, sell it at full price, and start trying to get an offering of a first-party title that will keep people within the ecosystem and keep that engagement. Engagement is the new metric that everybody is going by. We even heard the head of Sony talk about that at one point, even though people like to avoid that conversation because it, blows up their idea that the console war is still a big thing and console sales are all that matter. That's not true anymore. It is now about engagement. It's about how long people are going to spend, not only time-wise within a game or within your ecosystem, but how much money they're going to spend in the long haul. And that makes a difference over that one sale. And so I think that using factions as a stepping off point makes sense for Sony, from a business standpoint. It is going to upset people like you, Steel, who have been waiting on a new factions, who did see the promises that were made by Naughty Dog that this was going to be coming. But I think from a business standpoint, from Jim Ryan's point of view, they have to do this because they have to develop some of these multiplayer games from their first parties or from third party partnerships that are going to kind of give that boost to a really, really weak point in their whole lineup. And so I think from that way of looking at it, you got to see that it does make sense that they're going to do this. I do think that they're probably going to expand it more. I do think that that's part of it. Like Luke Steele was suggesting, I think it probably is going to be a bigger experience. I wouldn't doubt that they pull some of the Uncharted multiplayer into this as well, and maybe kind of combine the two together and try to, just kind of give you a different experience than what Factions was. Even though you absolutely love Factions, I think they're going to have to try to broaden it out in its appeal, because at the end of the day, Factions was a niche portion of The Last of Us. It never turned. There was a passionate community behind it, like you, that loved the hell out of Factions, but at the same time, it didn't have that mass appeal. But Sony is fighting an uphill battle.
That's my point.
Don't kid yourself, because they have become known now as the single player experience console and place to play. They have an uphill battle of trying to convince people that come over and play multiplayer on our ecosystem, especially when a lot of people who have used their party chat system and things know that it's an inferior product compared to Xbox Live, which was set up from its get-go to be that multiplayer experience, right? So you're going to have an uphill battle. They got a lot to change, not just bringing out a multiplayer gaming and saying, hey, here we go. Now we got a multiplayer experience. Come check it out. That's not all they're fighting against. They have a lot of stereotypes against their internal systems that are going to keep people away from it until it's proven to be different. So I think, again, overall, I understand what they're doing here. I understand why they're doing it. I think it's good business decision. Like you said, the single player experiences are one and done. Hence why we now have director's cuts. Hence why we now see Jim Ryan talked about this months ago. And again, people ignored it. I brought it up multiple times. There is an interview with Jim Ryan in which he stated, we are looking at smaller experiences, more cost-effective experiences, but still giving you that quality. He was telling you what they were going to do with these director's cuts back then. He was telling you this was already part of the plan. They're going to use these director cuts to kind of fill the gaps in between big releases, as we just saw, with Iki Island coming out. That fills the gap. Now, it might not ever be everybody's cup of tea, but it's still putting out a new piece of content. It's still repackaging it and selling it to the people who may not have already bought Ghost of Tsushima, and giving them a reason to buy that now on their PlayStation 5, and say, hey, we do have new content. We do have something new. Here's Iki Island. Yes, it's still Ghost of Tsushima, but guess what? We upgraded it. And now we're giving you this. And yes, you do have to pay for it, but guess what? It's a new piece of content. And so we do have things coming out. Because as we've seen, the news for Sony, like we were talking behind the scenes, Steel, has been very dry. Again, there's no other way to put it. It's almost a complete role reversal from what we used to see of Xbox when they were kind of in flux and not knowing which direction they were going to go. They weren't purchasing studios. They weren't putting out much content, and it got dry, and Sony continuously had something to talk about. And now we've seen it flip flop because Sony kind of shot their whole load in one deal, right? They kind of shot everything out between the end of the PlayStation 4 generation and the beginning of the PlayStation 5 generation. Yes, there has been some great stuff that have come out, but that was kind of all they had. And now they're transitioning over and they don't have much in the works. Yes, they've got some big stuff coming down, Horizon Forbidden West, which we'll talk about, God of War, but those is still in the production pipeline. And this in-between area right now, they don't have much to talk about. They don't have much to say, hey, we got this coming. So So they're kind of reloading right now, and they're using these director cuts in the meantime, and they're going to trickle out information like they just did with this factions release to say, hey, we're working on stuff. We've seen, the news articles over the past, few months about these partnerships they're doing with these new studios. That's what you're going to kind of get until they get reloaded. Once they get reloaded, we'll see another good round of PlayStation content coming out. But again, they just don't have the studios to maintain that like Xbox does. They don't have the platform like Game Pass yet, which requires that Xbox continuously pumps out new stuff, creates new deals with third parties and second parties, and on top of their first party stuff. That's why you're going to see this really big difference between the two companies as we go over the next year, 2 years, 3 years. It's going to look and kind of feel like Sony doesn't have a whole lot, even though if we were in the last gen, it would still be like, damn, Sony's putting out some really good stuff right now. Compared to next to Xbox and what they got coming, it's going to seem really small. That's kind of that shift. But I think this is a good move, again, to get back to factions. They have to do this. They have to create some multiplayer hype. They know that down the road, this is going to become more and more important, that people are going to be making decisions based upon value. Perceived value is just as big as factual value. And a lot of people are looking at Game Pass and the perceived value and the multiplayer experiences and all the additions that Xbox generally make when it comes to their games. They're seeing that perceived value more and more on the Xbox side, and Xbox is still going to have the single player experiences. We're still going to get the Hellblades. We're still going to get the Perfect Darks that are going to be the single player experiences that everybody's been asking for, but they've already got this big, gigantic catalog of multiplayer experiences, Sea of Thieves, Grounded, these types of games that are going to continue to live and grow, Halo Infinite once it drops, that people are going to continue to look at and go, damn, they got a lot going on over there. I could be playing these games nonstop over there. I got Call of Duty here. Yeah, I got my Madden. Yeah, I got my Battlefield over on PlayStation. But I got all these other unique experiences I can't get anywhere else other than PC, mobile or Xbox. But I got to become part of the Xbox ecosystem to do that. I might just jump over there because I'm waiting on PlayStation to do something similar.
Or why not just to have both? You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Just opening up the experience, giving you more accessibility than there ever was before. Now, I wanted to jump in here really quickly because we were touching on these things with PlayStation and everything. We were talking about a little bit in the chat. This is why I love chat. And shout out to Stubbs. You brought up a point that PlayStation is still dominant because of the top level, quality level games, and this won't change, to be honest. But Xbox will give it their best go, but it's all good for gamers. And I basically responded to him is that PlayStation is basically is dominant because people are sheep. And what I mean by that is that because PlayStation is the more popular brand, because it has been around for longer, because people see PlayStation as some top quality name brand thing, that it will always do that. It's the same reason why Apple is more popular than any Android device is. Even though
people are bougie with their game systems,
people
just like they are in real life.
People, yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Like I was saying it's the same thing with Apple. Apple is constantly 4 years behind in development as far as their hardware goes into their phone, or at least a couple years. But people are still more sheepish towards Apple, and constantly I get in arguments, not even arguments, I get into conversations with people every day who tell me why Androids are pointless, who tell me that, oh, if you don't have blue bubbles, if you got green bubbles, I'm not talking to you. What? It's a phone. Oh, if you ain't got FaceTime, you broke. What? Oh, I'm not trying to deal with you if you don't have these things going on. It's the same thing on the PlayStation side of things. And the only reason why people continue to invest is because it's already a known brand. And it constantly does things that aren't too far outside of their wheelhouse. Of course, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, you're not giving people a reason to constantly invest. That is the problem. PlayStation can do whatever the hell they want to. That's not what we're talking about. And for anybody not just you Stubbs, but for anybody to continuously focus on the central point of, oh, PlayStation can keep doing whatever they're doing and it's okay because Xbox is trying to catch up. No, y'all are missing the point. Like, why do we come here week by week and talk to y'all? Y'all are missing the point. Xbox has blatantly told y'all since 2013 that this isn't our move anymore. We've saw it. 2017, they officially made that change and said, no, we're not playing that game with them anymore. That's not our game to win. Because you guys are the more popular brand. It's the same exact reason why Jordan continues to release the same shoes with minor changes, very minor, and they still sell for over $300 a pair of shoes. When they release at over a little over 100 or right around 200, and they get marked up for double, triple the price because they're rare or because Jordan is such a great brand. It's the same exact reason. Whether it's Lamborghinis, Audis, Ferraris, whatever you're into, it's the same exact thing that applies into this situation. The fact that Xbox is even remotely close to PlayStation should be embarrassing to PlayStation by itself. It should be. But because of this, because of competition, PlayStation has continued to put out great first party single player action adventure games. Because if it wasn't for competition, they wouldn't have done any of that. They wouldn't start looking at how to keep the retention rate of their consumer base in their ecosystem. The heads of the company have already saying that we don't have enough people continuously investing in our ecosystem. You play the game, you put it down, the console no longer gets played, except if you're fully invested in that ecosystem, which if you are, I understand. I understand it. And if you're a single player dude, I feel you. I mean, Pong said the same types of things. He was a single player. That's what makes us so great, because he always has that single player selfish kind of experience a lot of the time. And then, you know, even though he delves into the multiplayer side of things, he can enjoy it. You know, he loves his single player experiences too. You know what I mean? And for him, it's more so it's the accessibility that attracts Xbox to him. It's all the amounts of money that he could save, the games that he might have not been able to touch, the value. And I always like to get to that as the final point, because people always tend to look over that. The value is undeniable. And if people continue to focus on the bigger picture of them saying, oh, well, they're single player, they're doing great things, and they're just still continue to do great things, that's not good enough. It's not.
K Mega brings the point. K Mega just said Apple and Sony's strategy isn't that far apart. Xbox is on a path and has a different vision. If Xbox was out to finish Sony, they have plenty of resources to do it, but that's not what Phil is about. Correct. And that's the same thing that happened with Apple and Android. It's the same thing. Apple created a market. Android came in and said, guess what? We're going to do something completely different. Yeah. We're going to expand the market out beyond what we believe that Apple has currently hit, because we think people are looking for something different. And guess what? Android was proven right, because Android now the world over outsells Apple in total. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Because Apple has remained true to themselves and what they do. And that's fine. They, again, created a fanatical, loyal fan base that will go preach the good word. Yeah. You know, cult-like about Apple. Absolutely. And I understand why they do it. And I get that fact. But for the rest of the people, the rest of the world, Android has overtaken Apple. And Android has proven that you can take a completely different path and get the same, if not better, results than the person who set the market, which was Apple at the time.
And what's crazy about Android, though, is that Android is across multiple devices. So it's like, Android is outselling Apple, but it's also doing it on multiple devices. It's not just Samsung. It's not just whatever else. But but that's the exact reason why.
And that's what Xbox is looking to do with Game Pass, right? Phil says, I don't care where you play. As long as you have access to Game Pass, go ahead and play all the games. I don't care where you play it on. It's the exact same strategy that Android said. Android said we are going to have an open operating system. We are going to allow everybody to go ahead and use it. It doesn't matter who it is. We're not going to lock it down to one single company, and we're just going to let everybody use it wherever they want to use it. And guess what? It succeeded. That's what Game Pass is doing now versus Sony.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. Agreed, Steel.
100%. And that entire whole value proposition that Xbox is now introducing is giving people more resources to invest in their favorite system. So if that PlayStation is your favorite system, you now have the best of both worlds. You don't have to buy an entire new system. You don't. But if you do, you got a $300 system. Or if you like top of the line, you got a $500 system. And guess what? You don't have to buy any games. That's consumer friendly. You can get the best of both worlds and don't have to argue over whichever. That's why I don't get why it always has to turn into a conversation of, oh, they just do things better. Oh, you're missing the point then still. You're basically like just closing your eyes and saying, hey, this is what I see. Well, you don't see shit. That's me.
Right.
Again, we always try to talk to the bigger picture. Again, I always feel like I can speak for me and Pong on that fact that we always are looking at the bigger picture. We're looking at the overall consumer, what everybody's into. I can always give you the selfish, my selfish feelings and everything else. It's like the same way anybody else can, but it's harder to kind of remove yourself out of that and say, hey, how does it look over the top? Right? Look at it like it's a top-down shooter. How does everything look at that point? Is the movement right? Is everything working the way that it needs to? Is everything in the background? Is there attention to detail in the scenery in the background? Can I see the mechanics towards the bottom, in this bottom left corner where typically you can't really see like that, but you can still see 1,000% of the detail in this corner because they paid attention to that. That's my entire point. I just want PlayStation to and I know they're not resting on their laurels. I mean, they've said that. I mean, of course. But I just want to see them to continuously improve and take things more serious the same way that Xbox has to, right? You want single-player games on Xbox, right? You want that single-player, third-person, over-the-shoulder experience. You want those single-player experiences overall on one side, and that's fine. But let me get those multiplayer experiences. Give me reasons to be invested on this other side, or give gamers a reason to, not even a reason, but give gamers the accessibility to it not be, oh, this versus this anymore. This is gaming. Play what you love what you play, keep it live, raw, and uncut, keep it organic, know what you stand for as a gamer. And let's just have those conversations from that point forward. But just having conversations based off of what brand you feel is better than the other brand is foolish. Like, I'm not arguing with people that my Samsung fridge is better than the LG fridge. Like, what? I can fucking care less. It's a fridge.
You're doing it wrong, Steve. You're doing it wrong.
I mean, but that's me. Yeah. I should be arguing with people. But again, I don't live my life on Twitter. I have better things to be doing. I got other passions that I'm also interested in. Gaming is just the one that stands out the most. And that's why I get passionate when certain things get brought up, because I feel like people are still failing to see the bigger picture or failing to want to have the bigger conversation. And that is a problem to me. There's other things that we could be talking about that need to be addressed, and they don't get addressed on a consistent basis because everybody is still so worried, so concern trolled, want to concern troll about a game that they said is irrelevant to them. That shit is funny to me. But anyway, that's neither here or there. And it's actually a good segue because this kind of leads into some of the crossplay stuff that we want to talk about. Not necessarily crossplay, but the cloud gaming stuff that we want to talk about along with Halo. Because we feel as though some of the cloud things could have an effect on this whole entire Halo situation, along with the multiple devices and everything else. But before we dive into that, let's holler at the chat, man. I've seen some lovely people in here. We got Lady Foxfire. shout out to you. You're an amazing person. She's always tries to come through, and I always enjoy that. Marion the Mad, I haven't seen you in a minute, my guy. What's going on? Much love, man. Hopefully
the lad is in the house.
The lad.
What's going on?
Fun speculation. Spooky Sprocket has stopped in. Callie Rex is in the house. What's going on, my guy? Glad you could come through. Hopefully you're enjoying the content and the passion that me and Pong are bringing you. X Burke, what's popping, my guy? Geezer Prime again. You still rocking with us? K Mega's been in here rocking. Stubbs is in here rocking. 108 was in here rocking and shaking the doors off the hinges. I think I said shout out to Spooky already. Who else we got in here? If you're in here, you're still rocking with us, letting us, you're enjoying the content, you're loving what we're doing, you're loving the energy, you're loving the passion, you're loving the live, raw, and uncut nature that me and Pong bring you. Hit that like button, share us out, let us know what we're doing right, let us know what we're doing wrong. The DMs are always open, and again, we're always paying attention, man. So
did you shout out Yobi? Yobi showed up, the
incredible
human being that he is.
Shout out to the Dragon Heart Yobi.
That's
what's popping, my guy.
Incredible human being.
Facts.
Good to see him.
Big facts. So Mr. Peace, Love, Life himself. One of the I see Yobi as like one of the leaders of the community, man. I feel like he doesn't get enough of the attention that he may necessarily deserve. Just because he's a positive spirit. He's positive energy in everything that we do. It kind of is like definitely one of the pillars for something that gaming should be, over what the community should stand for. So Back from the Dead was popping, my guy. Fat Boy Horror, goodness, thank you guys for shouting out that you're still here rocking with us. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, share us out. Other than that, Pong, definitely want to jump into this whole conversation with Halo, because it's didn't come up again. People said, oh, we weren't going to get a special Xbox, but guess what? We got a special Xbox. Guess what? People said, I don't know if they're going to be able to release anything else. Everything is so behind. Guess what they did? Release an Elite Series 2 Master Chief controller, which I will grab whenever I can, because I need that. I will have multiple Elite Series 2 controllers. I'm actually, I might be capping a little bit for that. I might wait until the Elite Series 3, because I feel like we're kind of around the corner for that. Just a little bit. I know they've been saying they've been working on controllers, but I wanted to kind of tie the whole cloud gaming coming to consoles along with this whole entire Halo conversation, right? Because I feel like it ties within each other. It ties to each other a little bit. Now, we found out an official date for Halo, which is something we've all been clamoring for. We've been like, oh, when's the date? When's the date? When's the date? Oh, is it going to be the 15th? Oh, it needs to be this date. It needs to be right now. If it's not here, then it's a fail. Oh, they missed an opportunity. And I understand why people feel that way. I also understand like the different perspectives and everything else. But again, I do feel like people aren't looking at the bigger picture in some of these things. Now, can they use it as a shield? No. This game has been in development for 7 years almost. $500+ million in the hole. 1,000 people working on it. Again, I am putting as much of an expectation on Halo as the next guy is. But I'm also under the same thought that I've loved every Halo that I've ever played. I don't think that the multiplayer in Halo 4 was as bad as people made it seem. Again, when I play it in MCC, I constantly tell myself like, damn, this isn't as bad as I thought it was, or remember it being, or whatever the case might be. And it could be because of updates. I'm also one of those guys that are along the lines, I don't think the story was as bad in Halo 5 as they tried to make it seem. As a lot of people have tried to make it seem. Now, if that's the consensus, cool. I mean, it is what it is. But I've loved every Halo for everything that it's brought and the energy that it's brought. And the 4 and 5 have brought more life to Master Chief than 1 through 3, period. They just have. For me, Halo 1 through 3 was like, okay, this is the super soldier. He's you can't beat this man. He is just like, he's the hero. Like, he's like Superman for Halo, right? That's Master Chief. He's Superman. And then 4 and 5 kind of introduced itself the same way that when Lois dies, what it did for Superman on what Cortana kind of going away did for Master Chief. That's the best example that I can use for that. Because, you know, when Lois died, Superman went all the way over the edge. He was like, all right, I had enough of this shit. I don't give a fuck about y'all like that for real. You know, he just completely went over the edge. And the same thing kind of like with Master Chief, but no, he didn't go over the edge, but he also, while like at that same breath, it brought more humanity to Superman, because it was like, okay, you can see how humans have had effect on him, or how he's affected as a guy. And then you see it the same way that translates into Halo, where you see how the story, again, because people say, oh, well, the way that the story is going, they remove so much from the lore and everything else. And I'm going to tell those people that say that you honestly don't pay that much attention to the lore, because yes, if you want to take everything literal, sure, you can do that. But at the same time, Master Chief, John 117 has so much more of like emotion and BS behind the curtain than the story has shown, which is, I think, is a mishap for me. And 343, if there's one thing that 343 has done right, is invoking that emotion and knowing how to drive their character. They're doing it, and they're making you feel that. And whether people like that or not is something completely different, right? And that's to each their own. That's why there's a consensus. 4 or 5, Infinite. I don't know how this is going to go. And that's why everybody wants to see gameplay for the campaign, because we want to know what we're getting into, right? I mean, I'm right there with you, but I'm of the mind now. It's like, I'll see it when it comes out December 8th. Like, whatever. It is what it is. Obviously, they don't want us to see it. Obviously, it probably isn't ready just yet. And just like any other game that has come out to this point, the homie Jeff Grubb brought up a good point last night in one of his shows and whatnot, saying that at this point, this could come together like any other game has come together, like any other Halo has come together, especially 2 into Reach, where the game just comes together in the last few months of development. Then you have other games that come together in the last few weeks of development. So, but with that being said, we do know that Halo is going to be, they're going to be on multiple platforms. Not only are you doing it on Xbox One, but you're also doing it on the series, and you're also doing it on cloud. Now, the cloud has also become available on the Xbox One consoles. And I feel like that is a feat and something that spells out a way bigger picture than a lot of people may think. But with that being said, how do you feel about this whole cloud gaming situation? And then, if you can, with tying it into with everything that's going on with Halo, how much this may have an effect on Halo, and just overall maybe how cloud gaming just might have an effect on games in the future. What do you think?
I think this is huge. From a selfish standpoint, I get to move my old VCR Xbox to the bedroom and be able to stream games. So I can't wait for this holiday. They said holiday. We should have streaming available. I'm assuming it's going to be later, probably by the time Halo Infinite launches. I think this is another push. I think this got kind of lost. This was for anybody who doesn't know, this was during the Xbox Gamescom presentation the night prior to opening night live, where they dropped this news that the streaming was finally coming to console. This has huge ramifications. We could probably do a whole show steal on what this probably means towards the future. Yeah. Now that they've got all the server blades upgraded, I've been doing streaming on my phone for a while through the cloud. And the experience has gotten so much better over the past few months since they've been upgrading these server blades. And it's unbelievable. They're aiming for 1080, 60 frames, which is a perfect mark to hit. And I think that as far as Halo goes, what this means is that, you know, it's kind of a complex situation, because if you listen to people behind the scenes, you know, shout out to Dealer. He brought it up on RDX this week, that he's heard behind the scenes that part of the issue is getting Halo, part of the issue with co-op, part of the issue overall with Halo Infinite is getting it to run on the old system, right? The VCR, Xbox One especially. And I would imagine the Xbox One S is also having kind of the same issues because of limited RAM. So what you do with the cloud is you eliminate a lot of those problems. Now the cloud is by no means perfect. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everybody is going to have a fantastic experience in any way, shape, or form, because we know it's heavily dependent upon your internet.
Yeah.
And it's going to be heavily dependent upon, what you currently have set up in your house or in your office where you're working or whatever the case may be. You're going to get a wide range of experiences from terrible to absolutely fantastic.
Right.
So again, but Xbox is not thinking about just now. They are thinking about the future. They are thinking about 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now, where everything's going to be at. And xCloud is a huge part of that, because eventually tech is going to catch up. Internet is going to catch up in most places around the world, to the point where you're going to get almost a 1-for-1 experience. Now, Phil has come out and flat out stated that's why they have no plans of ending making consoles, making hardware, because he knows that the hardware experience is still going to outperform any kind of cloud experience for the foreseeable future. And that's the way it is. And we all know this. But in the meantime, as kind of a bridge, a gap, you could say, between the old hardware, which there is still somewhere between 40-50 million Xbox Ones out there, Xbox One S's, Xbox One X's. With that, you can bridge the gap so that the people have the opportunity to be able to play Gen 9 games on Gen 8 hardware. Which is a huge deal. So people who may not be able to find a Series X or a Series S, or may not be able to afford one at this time, can still use their old hardware and get that same experience or similar experience with the brand new games that they, that slowly but surely are phasing out. We're going to see less and less cross-gen games as we move into 2022 and 2023, especially 2023. I don't think we're going to see any cross-gen games by that point. I think next year will probably be the last year, besides maybe a few here and there. I think 2023 is when we start really see it just being current Gen 9 games. But you're going to still be able to use your old hardware. Guess what? That's freaking fantastic. You don't have to sell it. Even if you do get a new game, you've got a whole nother console that you can move to another room without costing you another dime. If you've got Xbox Ultimate, you've got the cloud, you go ahead, or Xbox Game Pass, you got the cloud, you go ahead and stream games that are current gen games to your old console. I think it's amazing. Now, when it comes to Halo, we were talking about this behind the scenes. It's complex. I have zero clue. I have zero idea. I'm not a dev. I am actually less techie than you are, Steel. But at the same time, what I see here is if they are really having these issues with the RAM problems, one band-aid they could do, let's say the co-op is a severe issue for the older hardware. They're going to take their time, and maybe this is why they decided to, not have it initially, but have it down the road. They're saying season 2, whether that's 3 months or whether that's almost 6 months, depending on where you think it's going to land in there. Let's say that they're working on the cloud stuff. And they're trying to use the cloud as kind of a stopgap. So let's say eventually they do get the co-op set to go, and they say, okay, series console owners, co-op is available for you just the way you expect it. Hop in. But we had issues with the older hardware. So older hardware people, if you are still playing on an Xbox One, an Xbox One S, or Xbox One X, you know what? We're not going to be able to deliver the co-op natively to you, but guess what? You're going to be able to hop in with your friends, co-op style. You're just going to have to use the cloud. You're just going to have to use the cloud to do so. I think that could be one of the reasons why, again, just speculation town out here. But I think that's why they just made the announcement that they're planning on getting the cloud out by holiday. They're going to work on the cloud. They've got the server blades upgraded, and behind the scenes, they can continue to work on Halo co-op and try to figure out if they need to go that route or not. But if they have to go that route, it's still an option for people. So I think that this is big. From that aspect. But like I said, cloud in general, I think this was kind of an announcement that kind of went under the wire. I know everybody was kind of expecting that. They've talked about it, but for it to be able to drop this year in 2021 is a huge deal. And I think, again, going down the road, say let's say Starfield comes out next year. That's a next gen only game. Right? That's a huge game. Okay. huge. We got some new news on that too as well.
Right.
Some little bits of information. But as we go forward, we're going to hear more and more of this. This is Bethesda's next big title. This is Todd Howard's baby that he's been waiting to make for 25 years. If you think this thing is going to be anything less than epic in scope, you got another thing coming. Now, is it going to be perfect? I have no idea. Is it going to have its issues? Don't know. But at the end of the day, there's going to be people that want to play for this. And let's say that there are still a large group of people who still cannot get their hands on a Series X or a Series S. And all they've got is that old hardware. Guess what? There's no longer a barrier to try it out other than your internet, other than what you've got going at home. But if you've got good internet, Xbox is going to be able to walk out there. Phil's going to be able to get on stage and go, guess what? You got Game Pass. You got access to Starfield out the gate. You got old hardware. No problem. Cloud. We got you
crazy.
That's
crazy.
Go ahead. Isn't it? Isn't it crazy?
That's crazy.
Isn't it? Yeah, you're not going to get the you're not going to get the 4K.
Yeah,
we know that, but you're still going to get a 1080 60 experience, up to 60 experience.
Yeah,
with your old hardware playing a current gen, next gen, whatever you want to call
crazy
it,
to think about.
Top of the line game.
That's crazy.
Without having to pay for the game, outside of Game Pass, your subscription, without having to buy new hardware, without having to do anything other than just having the cloud on your console and start streaming. That's it. And we can get into you're going to be able to stream while you're downloading. So you're not going to have to wait for the game to download. You know what a pain that is.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to be able to stream. We're not talking about the benefits that people are going to see by not having to always download the big file right away. Streaming is going to cost you some internet data, obviously, we know that, but at the same time, you're not going to have to download that game that maybe you don't want eating up hardware space. Some of the smaller games out there, the indie games, you just be able to stream them and play them and not have to worry about taking up that hardware, that hard drive space, that SSD space that's so valuable right now. All of these benefits are huge for cloud. But I think with Halo especially, you could definitely see a stopgap or a Band-Aid, whatever you want to call it, if they are still having some severe issues with some of the features because of the old hardware. Then I think the cloud could be a potential opportunity where they still are able to give it to you on the old hardware, just maybe not the native style that they thought they were going to be able to do originally, right? But I think it's still there to be used, and I think it's fantastic. Steel, you got any more thoughts on it? What do you think as far as the Halo stuff goes in the cloud, and what do you think about cloud overall? So.
I'm along the same lines as you, man. I mean, this whole thing, again, 1 and 1 has to equal 2 at some point, right? If they're having issues with co-op, if they're having issues with the older hardware, which it goes along those lines of everybody feeling like, these consoles are holding things back and we're continuing to support them and this, that, and the other thing. I feel why people say that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to what the devs want to do, up to the dev talent, up to what the overall publisher decides what they want to do with the product. And I'm excited for cloud, right? Am I going to be the number one person using it? No. But it doesn't mean that I can't be excited for it, because it opens up opportunity for people who may have not had the opportunity before, right? Not everybody, again, going to that accessibility, conversation that we always go back to. This is one of the key components to that, especially for gaming, being the bigger picture and in the room, honestly. It's like going to the art gallery and you have this, all these, great strokes on this frame or whatever the case, and you might not understand it right then, but that next time that you come around to that art museum, it says something different to you every time that you see it. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with the whole cloud thing that's going on. It's something different every time that they update it. It seems like it continuously gets better. It continues to elevate. It continues to show the potential that it has. And then if you're really invested in it, you'll see firsthand on whether it's for you or not. Again, me being a multiplayer centric gamer, cloud will never be an option for me, right? I'm a competitive dude, even on single player, even in the Souls-like games. Cloud is not an option for me because I like to have my movement on point. Now, am I saying that it'll never be there? I will never say that. I cannot be one of these guys that run around and say, oh, there's no reason for us to do cloud. Oh, this is irrelevant. Who wants this shit? Nobody. I can't do that because obviously there's a good slew of people and a good base of people who are highly interested in this and can use this as something as it continues to progress, as something that also give them more value or give them more ways to invest into things that they may have not been able to before. Not everybody has the bread to get a new console. Not everybody has the bread to get every game that comes out. Early on, I mean, especially when I started buying games for myself, I was of the mind that certain games I'm not going to play if there's certain things that aren't included with it. It's the biggest reason I skipped over a lot of single player games is because I was of the mindset that if it didn't have multiplayer connected to it, I don't want to play it. I feel like it's a waste of my money and my time. Right? You get that experience out of your single player game and then you never go back to it. At least me. And I'm like that with every game that I play. And I know there's people that, dive back into it and you play your story mode games over and over again. But cloud kind of opens it up to this whole accessibility thing, opens it up to where I've played games through Game Pass that I probably wouldn't have played otherwise. It opens that spectrum up. And if that's something that they're really considering doing, well, we're not even considering because we know that's what they're doing with something that they're working on with Halo, there's nothing but a huge benefit to it in the long run. Is it the answer to all problems? No, it's not. Is it going to be perfect within the next couple of years? I don't know. We'll see. They still got the Orion tech to involve. Who knows if that's really been implemented into anything yet? We do know that they got the series server blades up where there's all Series X's, where that's where a lot of their consoles are going or whatnot, and keep those server blades up and going so they can move this ball more forward. And they're not playing about that because they could have held off on that. They could have just put Series server blades in there and said, oh, we'll get to it when we get to it.
That's originally what I heard they were going to do.
Yeah.
And then they decided to bump them to the Series X.
Which is perfect because now they can guarantee you that 1080p, 60 frames in this new generation that we're moving into, where feeling your games is more important over everything else. Visual quality is cool and all, but again, even like Phil says, and like other people have also said, that that experience that you're going to get from your actual hardware is always going to be the better experience than anything cloud-based, because we are not in a space where it's not as serious as it is. It's not as serious to us in the US as it is in Japan, for example. You know what I mean? Where they're always on the move. They're always on the go. They take internet very seriously, but they're also very secluded from a lot. You know what I mean? They have a lot of rules. So it's like, we want to catch up with where other parts of the world are moving faster in some spaces, but at the same time, we're trying to do it right, quote unquote, even though we're still dealing with our own things like net neutrality and people dealing with different things. Like, again, I still have a data cap. You know what I mean? Sure, I was able to up it and my servers had a deal that I was able to cut through. I was able to triple my speeds and basically triple the space that I was able to have and everything else. So that's been a blessing for about the same price that I was playing before. So, hey man, I can't complain about that. But at the same time, I still do have a data cap. You hear these stories about people who have, have terabytes of data to use and they never use it. And that's kind of one of the downfalls for cloud right now. But there's just so many benefits to everything that cloud can bring, especially with it coming to console. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see the potential of it and what it can do. Hopefully Halo's able to use this to be like a prime example of what Cloud is kind of capable of, especially when that co-op actually ends up coming out. And you get those experiences where maybe you got a buddy or something that's on the go. He's working all the time, and he pops in that whatever device, whether Xbox releases a smaller device, like a stream stick kind of thing, or he has xCloud or whatever the case might be, and he's like, "Hey, come run through some of these story missions with me, man. I haven't had a chance to really play. You want to play? We can do some stuff on Legendary or whatever." And you hop in, hop out, just out of ease of access, and it's something that we've never had before. So it's an exciting thing to see, and I'm pumped for it. Even as someone that might not be using it firsthand or planning on using it firsthand anytime soon. It's an exciting thing to see.
Let's be real, Steel. And again, this is the first baby steps to when Grandpa Steel is playing Ready Player One, crushing kids in multiplayer.
There you go.
In virtual reality.
There you go.
Complete virtual reality.
Yeah. No, that's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, for me, and that's kind of, and that's the other thing with VR. For me, it's like, I really don't want to step into VR until we get to that point. You know what I mean?
Right. That's the way I am. That's the way, until you can hook my whole body in, until I've got the full body experience, don't talk to me about VR.
Facts.
Grandpa Steel going to be in there like, you kids don't know about that Gears of War. I'm about to show you that.
I'm about to wall bounce in this virtual space. Now what? Yeah, facts. That's hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. I love it. But yeah, man. I mean, so from both of us, it just sounds like we're excited about it, man. Yeah. We're not going to be one of those people who are like, oh, we don't use it, so who cares? Because we see the potential in it, right? You got to see the bigger picture.
Future comes whether we like it or not.
Exactly.
So that's the way it is.
Exactly. All right. Well, we could make this a 4-hour show. Yep. But we do have to talk about Gamescom also.
Oh my God.
And I'm probably going to keep it a bit short as far as these games go and whatnot. I will hand out some of my excitement, talk about a little bit about the games that really stuck out to me.
Games.
Yeah,
Golden
facts.
Age of gaming. My
facts,
God.
Facts.
I've got enough notes here to go probably another 2.
Yeah, we could definitely probably go another 2 hours just talking. I know Anchor doesn't like when I do that, so I got to split episodes up and everything else. It's not like it's a huge deal. Again, I am recording it. I've been really on point. Pong's been on point, and the wife has been on point for making sure that I record it when we go live, so I can make sure to put it up on Anchor, whatever the case might be. This gives me a little bit more work on the back end. If it does end up going longer than 3 hours, oh well, I'm not going to try to pressure it. But
Geezer wants a 4-hour show. Fun speculation says 6.
Yeah, I see that. If we're gonna do 6 hours, I need to start getting paid at some point. Get
the word out there, people. We need to get our views up. We need to get our subs up. We need super chats. I'm
gonna start adding the Cash App to this. If you want us to go 6 hours, goddamn, I would love to, but Lord.
Venmo.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. Venmo doesn't. They don't tax me, so that works. But I'm going to start off. We're definitely going to jump into some of the Gamescom stuff because that has been some exciting things to say. But again, I want to shout out everybody in the chat who is still here, rocking with us, tuned in, locked in, and live, because you don't have to be here. But I appreciate you for being here, and I appreciate if you guys are loving the content. Again, let us know. Hit us up in the DMs. Tell us how trash we are or how amazing we are. We don't know until you guys say something. Me and Pong can do this, as you can see, organically. Haven't talked all week. Life has been going crazy. Work has been just slamming us upside the head, and we still get in here with as much passion or more passion than most people could ever give, and give you X amount of time on the show, right? So much love to y'all. We keep it live, raw, and uncut here. That passion, authenticity, that organic nature that Pong and myself bring is something that we value. So again, let's just keep it going. And Six Layer says, "Use guys is trash." Not. Much love to you, Thanks, Sick. Brother. Facts. But with that being said, let's get into these Gamescom topics. And I kind of wanted to start it off with, this is kind of make working a little bit backwards, and we'll just kind of bounce off each other from this point forward. I wanted to start it off with, because it's Nintendo, we are a non-console centric platform.
Yep.
the one game that has really pulled my attention that I wasn't expecting to pull my attention, and that is Metroid DREAD.
Oh, I thought you were going with like Panty Raid 2 or whatever.
I mean, Panty Raid 2 might have been a good game, but Panty Raid 2 could have been a good game, but
all right. Let's go with Metroid then anyways. That's fine.
all right. Well, how are you feeling about Metroid DREAD, man? I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer.
Hey.
I'm actually gonna try to pull that up if I can. I see Geezer talking about hats and whatnot. If you're talking about my hat, yeah, I probably have
talking about fun.
Oh, you've been wearing the same hat every day?
Yeah, because Geezer says, because when Mav said 6 hours, Geezer said, of course, because Mav streams for days, right? And then everybody started talking about, he's got the same hat on all the time. That's why. So,
hey, he said that's his most comfortable hat, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, hey, why not? There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, with the Metroid DREAD trailer coming out, man, it's the one thing that Nintendo could have put out that actually is exciting me, and it's pulling some interest from me. How are you feeling about it? What do you think about Metroid DREAD, man? Are you still a Metroid fan? Is this something that's going to get you to invest in a Nintendo Switch?
Okay, look, let's get real here. I'm not going to invest in a Nintendo Switch for this, but I will say that the trailer for Metroid DREAD definitely got me a little hyped. Not gonna lie, the old Metroid feels came out, being that it is a classic 2D side scroller platformer. And what they showed in that DREAD trailer was pretty damn cool. Again, not gonna try to lie here, even though I'm not a big Nintendo guy anymore.
Right.
This game definitely is something to look forward to for all the Nintendo fans out there, especially the Metroid fans. It looks like they have captured, I was talking about the Aliens Fire Team and how it captured the Aliens feel. Right. This captures the Metroid feel, the old Metroid feel before Metroid Prime and those kind of games. And I think that they've done a fantastic job bringing it up to date, current. I think a lot of the new weapons that they kind of showed off in this trailer, new abilities, look fantastic. I think it's creating a new opportunity for even more exploration, and finding those secret spots, which was huge in Metroid. So yeah, no, man, I think that they, again, this has been Metroid DREAD, the original, was announced, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like 18 years ago,
yeah.
some crazy number like that. And it never came about. So for them to go out, and they've got I don't even know if it's a first party studio. I think this might be a second party studio. It's a partner, I can't remember. For them to go out and do this, and to just simply from the trailer, be able to give that old school Metroid feel to everybody who used to play them.
Right.
Again, incredible job. Again, like I said, if I had a Switch, this would definitely be top of my list. This is by far the most excitement I've had for a Switch game in a long time. Outside of like your Fire Emblems and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The JRPGs I can't get anywhere else. But this game right here, all about it. Classic Nintendo, classic Metroid style, looking absolutely gorgeous. I can't say enough about it. Loved the trailer, loved everything that went into it. So what'd you think, Steel? What'd you think?
Metroid, again, I'm not the hugest Nintendo player anymore, man, right? I got a Switch and I haven't touched it since I've bought it. I played Super Smash Brothers for a bit with my girls when it first came out and everything, and I haven't really played it since, right? But again, it's been something interesting, especially I've always been kind of a Metroid fan, as far as like I'm a Samus fan, right? I like her as a character. The fact when I remember finding out when Metroid was actually when I should say Samus, when I found out that Samus was a girl, was an amazing thing to me. I was like, damn, this girl's a badass. I was like, she fucking has this canon. The whole thing, like with me, people always try to throw shade at me with this. People were like, man, Steel, you always have a thing with people in suits. It used to be guys in suits because I'm an Iron Man fan. I'm a Venom fan. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have a thing.
Gundam fan.
You have these things for people that like to wear suits and mechs and things like that to that nature. I was a Mega Man fan at one point. I'm more of a Zero fan than I am a Mega Man particular fan, but Metroid making this kind of a comeback and displaying the game the way that they did pulled my interest. It definitely had me saying, hey, I might have to use the excuses that this game is for the for my oldest to buy this now. So just so that I can slide in there and play it for a bit, just because it does pull me that much, right? Again, there are other ways, but I like to keep it as PG as possible, and I'm definitely would consider buying this one, man. It has that kind of a level of excitement for me, just from everything that I've seen from the trailer. Man, it holds a high interest for me. That's mostly what I can say about it. Nintendo hasn't done that in a while. For it to be that cast of Metroid, again, there's a reason why we call these games Metroidvania, those style of games. And for basically the father, or I should say mother, one of the mothers of this genre, to make this kind of a comeback and look as good as it did, it's exciting. I just really hope I don't have to play it in 30 frames. That would suck. That would really suck. But it is what it is. Sub 720 and less than 60 FPS.
Right.
But that would definitely suck, but it is what it is. With that being said, what pulled you? I brought up Metroid. What was your next one that you had pulled your interest, Pong? What's going on?
Oh man, there were so many. Well, we'll make this, because I know we don't want to go 4 hours here. So I'll just give a quick rundown of some highlights from the Xbox show. I know people didn't like the Xbox Gamescom show, but I certainly did, and I know I'm in the minority there as far as the Xbox show goes. But anyways, be that as may, Dying Light 2 showed off fantastic. To start off the show, I thought that was amazing. And can't wait for December 7th. It's going to get crushed by Halo, but I certainly hope people don't forget about Dying Light 2, because I think Techland, for as many problems as we have heard that they've had, that supposedly this has been in development hell, for them to come out and show what they've been showing this year is impressive. And Dying Light 2 is definitely on my radar. Every time they show it, it looks better and better. The parkour, the combat system has been updated. The animations have been updated. Looks just stellar. So Dying Light 2 was a huge one. Crusader Kings 3 coming to console. This is a huge W. Yeah, this is a huge W for us strategy RTS fans. They didn't show it at Gamescom, but Spellforce 3 from THQ was also announced, which is a RTS RPG hybrid game that has been pretty successful on PC. That also got announced for consoles as well. So huge W's for me and people like Fun Speculation, who love those genres, and we just don't see enough of them on console because obviously it's a hard port with the controller. But I'm glad people are finally doing it. So Crusaders 3 was definitely a big W there. Let's see. I'm trying to think. What should we highlight? Let's get this out of the way, Steve. Sure. The surprise game of the show. I think you've got this ready. I think we can show off the trailer. The surprise game of the show. A game that came out of nowhere. A game that has no business looking as good as it does. A game that has no business generating as much what you're going to talk excitement about. As it does. A game that literally people are now online, and this is rare to see this stuff. Real talk coming out. People online on social media saying, hey, Nintendo, Pokemon should look like this if you guys would just get with the program.
Yes.
So for anybody who doesn't know, and I know a lot of people are dismissing it because it definitely is geared towards a kiddie kind of style or class. But I'm telling you, this game is going to have fans of all ages. DokeV. DokeV, made by the Korean developer Pearl Abyss, which obviously makes one of Steel's favorite MMOs of all time.
Yes.
Right?
Good old Black Desert. Black Desert Online.
Black Desert Online. Pearl Abyss has a engine, a proprietary engine, which they have created, which looks like it can produce in any style of game, which looks like it is going to be extremely valuable for that company, because DokeV is absolutely stunning when it comes to visuals. This game just looks like pure chaos. When I saw this, I was like, what is going on? And I think I speak for you too as well.
Yeah.
Steel.
Yeah.
Everybody, like, what is happening in this game? What is this game? And then as you watched it, look at these graphics. This looks like a next gen, current gen. Again,
especially when it gets into the action, that's what blew my mind. I was like, yo, what is going on?
The environments alone, the background, some of it looks like Forza Horizon, for God's sakes. I mean, there's some of those backgrounds that are just incredible. But then, like you said, when it gets into the action and you get the battle sequences and you get the particle effects flying everywhere and you get the transformations into a K-pop superstar or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Crazy, dude. Crazy stuff. Now, again, a lot of people got the misconception because I actually went to their website during the show to check it out, and it was still stating that it was an MMO. So I was like, oh, cool, MMO, right? We're going to be able to play with everybody. This is going to be, I was in chat with Xbox Ultimate because Fun was doing a live reaction show. And I was like, dude, we're going to rock this because everybody in there was excited about it as well. But it turns out they've switched from an MMO and they're just calling it an open world action game. Now, I'm assuming you're going to be able to play with friends. I doubt they're going to hold this to a single player game, but they got rid of the MMO side of it. So, again, don't know much more than that. It's in development. They haven't set a release date or anything like this, but it is a open world action game, which you're trying to capture these animal-like creatures. We saw a panda with boxing gloves on.
Yeah.
We've seen some type of bear, another bear. We saw some weird looking anteater looking thing.
Yeah.
There was a bunch, but so it's like Pokemon. You're going around capturing these animals and you bring them into battle with you to fight these bad guys that are invading the world. But you can go explore the entire world. You're supposedly going to be able to build houses. You're going to be able to go fishing.
Oh, look at this.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at the rainbow effects. It just is insane. You're going to be able to do all this other stuff as well, but they got all these game mechanics like this grappling in midair thing where you're, man, that just looks fantastic. So again, you're going to be able to get a bunch of different ways to travel. They said you're going to be able to earn like rollerblades, skateboards, hoverboards, jet skis, cars. You're going to be able to earn all this stuff and be able to travel the world that way as well. Again, just a fun, out of nowhere game that just was like, everybody was like, I think Benji Sales, shout out Benji, who does a lot of the analytics on this stuff. This game had the highest peak of searches out of any of the games shown at Gamescom. Any of the games. It didn't place in the top 5 as far as concurrent searches go. All the big ones took that, Halo Infinite, all those. But this one had the highest peak. So when they were showing this off, there was more people than any other game searching for this game and trying to find out about it, which shows a lot. I think this game is going to be a hit. I think Pearl Abyss is a great developer out of South Korea. I think one of the up and coming developers. They also have they've got Black Desert, and then they've got Crimson Desert, which is going to be a more single player focused experience like Black Desert. You're gonna be able to ride dragons. We saw that last year, and that one's supposed to be coming out soon as well. Pearl Abyss is killing it. So I'm all excited for DokeV. What'd you think, Steel? What'd you think?
I mean, I like, again, like you said, you think you can speak for both of us. I'm right there with you, man.
No shame.
It's crazy. It's crazy because as soon I saw it, because I initially saw it and I was like, man, I don't know what this is. So so I looked over it, right? And then I saw somebody write something about it on Twitter and they were like, oh, Pearl Abyss, DokeV. I was like, Pearl Abyss? I was like, hold on, let me go watch this trailer. So I remember waking up that morning, or it was the next morning or whatever. And that's when I saw it on Twitter, and there was somebody said Pearl Abyss DokeV, and I was like, I was like, I just looked over that yesterday, and so I woke up and I pulled it up on my phone, and I was like, at first, I was like, what the hell is this game? I was like, what is this? I was like, what is this, Sims, some kid Sims game? Like, like to take it to the next level or something? Like, what's going on?
Kids Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. I was like, what is going on in here? And then that very next scene, that they go into like the actual gameplay of like the combat scenes, I was like, oh, all right, you got me invested. Like, that's all I needed to see. Like, as much as it may look kiddie, or it may look simplistic, or it may, or whatever you want to call it, it looks extremely interesting. And the main thing that attracts me to it is Pearl Abyss, just because, yes, Pearl Abyss has been popular overseas for a while now. Giza Prime, I definitely feel you on that. But the main thing that's brought much attention to Pearl Abyss is Black Desert Online. Yeah. It's one of those MMOs, I consider it to be up there with Final Fantasy 14, right? Because Final Fantasy 14, again, it's also been out for a long time, was slept on, and then now all of a sudden out of nowhere, it has more popularity than it's ever had before. But like, for me, it's hard for me to get into Final Fantasy because I keep hearing people say, yeah, after the first 100 hours, the game picks up. What? It's like, I mean, I feel you.
That's a huge investment.
It's like, yeah. and then I feel you, and that could be ultimately true, but it's like, I don't have just 100 hours to throw around and be like, yeah, let me get into this world and wait for the game to pick up. And that's what made it kind of different for like Black Desert for me, whereas it kind of picks up off the jump, from the beginning, where from the combat, for me, Black Desert, what pulls me is just the combat off rip. Was like, okay, now I'm invested because I want to see where this takes me. And then it makes you want to do research and look at it more in detail and everything. And it's kind of the same thing with this DokeV does, because it's like, okay, it's like this Pokemon-ish, but you still have your own combat, and then you have all this different ways of traversal, and then now you saying things like, oh, you're basically living within this world. It has a lot of interesting concepts, especially coming from Pearl Abyss, and then also knowing that they continuously are using their own proprietary engine to make these games. Like, it just speaks like bounds on what is possible from that side, and why we have to continuously look into getting more involved with the Eastern culture, man, like, and getting them more involved in America, right? Because we tend to blow those things off to the side, but that is one of those games that will pull the attention of not just the younger crowd, but also the older crowd, like anybody, right? Anybody. This is one of those that anybody could jump into and possibly have a really good time with. So it has me extremely interested, highly invested. It's another one of those where it's like, I don't even want a demo. Let me know when the game comes out. If there's a beta or something, I'll play it then. But other than that, I'm interested. It has piqued my interest. Pearl Abyss so far has not let me down. It hasn't. Yeah. Crimson Desert is another one of those where I already know I don't need a demo or a beta for that. I'll buy it day one because I already know what to expect. At least from me. And if anybody has any questions, just look up Pearl Abyss and look at their work, man. Honestly, it speaks for themselves. It may not be for everybody. I know Black Desert isn't for everybody, but I feel like Crimson Desert will be. It will fill that hole that a lot of people like for those single player games. And then I feel like this DokeV game, hopefully if it goes to fruition, because we know how these games are, it's like we hear about it now and then we don't hear about it for the next 6 years. Hopefully it ends up playing out and actually makes a huge splash on the scene. So
yeah, for sure. Yep. So what do you got, Steel? Which one do you want to highlight next?
I guess the next one that I can really talk about, that I can kind of get out of the way, because I know you don't have too much to say about it, is Elden Ring, man. Got more gameplay, more in-depth talks of what Elden Ring is going to bring us. Again, we saw that they're going to have a map system in place. They got some other systems in place also to make it more player friendly without taking away the overall experience, right? Because that was one of the concerns that a lot of people had was, hey, well, we know we know that you guys want to make this game, you want to get more people into the game, but at the same time, we don't want you to make it easier for everybody just because. And it seems like they've played that fine line very well with this, especially from what they showed at Gamescom, from the map and everything else. It looks like they're playing a lot of fine lines that I'm very interested to see how it plays out in the long run, especially with the expanded co-op, having the multiple people in there. I believe it's up to 4 people that you can have within your world at one time. Seeing them take that route, seeing them also give you the map, give you like, I don't know how, maybe they're going to give you more of a generalized idea of wherever you may be at within the world, maybe not telling you exactly, but saying, hey, this is where you are, you're in this area. So I'm just interested in seeing on what all this is going to do, and more so seeing how many more people are actually going to want to invest themselves in it, because to be honest, they've taken that mythic beast, like that mythic thing that they always take advantage of in the Souls-like games, the interesting character designs that they always have, the enemy designs that they always like to throw in there, making them creepy, but at the same time making them feel like they're a huge threat to you. They've just piqued my interest more and more and more, and I'm like super interested in what Elden Ring is going to bring us, man. I'm at the point with it where it's like, yeah, I think I'm just going to pre-order this thing. I might have to get the biggest version. I'm looking at statues and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like I might have to really buckle down and 100% investing into it. And again, I mean, I know you, Pong, were saying that, hey, well, you know, you're not really a Souls guy, but with the co-op thing being in there and this whole map situation, and you were like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to jump in there and check it out and see what's going on. You know, I'll be right there with you to help you out if you need some guidance or whatever. But I just feel like this game is going to attract a lot more people than previous Souls titles have, and that's the important thing, right? That you know, we're gonna be able to expand it out, because a lot of people try to make these Souls-like games seem like they're so niche, and they are, but we also have to recognize that these Souls-like games are actually getting a lot more attention than people give them credit for, right? They'll sell 20-30 million copies of a game, you know what I mean, if need be. And at that point, it's not necessarily that it's niche now, because it's definitely become more recognizable and more recognized than it ever has kind of in the past, especially after Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne and whatnot, kind of leading that mantle on these other Souls-like style games coming out now, giving people more of a reason to want to even try to jump in. So I don't know how you feeling about it, man. I know you don't have too much to say, but
yeah, no, I'll keep it short. I love the style of From. I absolutely die. I've watched so much gameplay of people playing through the Souls-like games because I've tried them. I tried Demon Souls originally on PlayStation 3. I tried Bloodborne. I've tried. I just can't get myself to do it, to spend the time that it would take to get good at a Souls game. For me, it's just too much. However, with this game here, from what I've read, they showed some stuff behind the scenes to a lot of people. Every gaming outlet basically out there now has some behind the scenes stuff. It sounds like they are going to try to get more people into them, like you were talking about, Steel. And that's always a fine line to walk, that you don't want to make the game so accessible that your hardcore fan base that love the Souls games for the difficulty turn on you and say this is no longer a Souls game. But again, I appreciate that they're trying to do stuff. When I read about the co-op, when I read about the map, when I read about the magic user class in this game, which I'm always a big fan of magic users, can summon some of the dead spirits to fight alongside you. Some of that stuff really, really captured my interest. And I started thinking to myself,
reminiscent of Diablo in some places right there too.
Yeah, maybe I'll dive back in and try another one when this gets out there into the wild. I'll wait and see how people react to it, and maybe kind of get because I know you'll probably be day one. Kind of get your feeling on it. If you say no, they've kind of eased up on some of it, I think it's going to be a much easier experience if you walk into this one. I'll probably give it a try because again, the world interests me to no end. The character design, the enemy design, especially, is out of this world. I absolutely love it. So I do want to give it a go if I believe I have a chance at succeeding in any way. I'll definitely give it a go. So I'm definitely excited for it. I'm glad so many people are hyped for this game because From deserves it for sure.
Yeah, so, I mean, from what I'm seeing, it just looked like they took everything that they've learned from over the years and are literally piecing it together in this game, but not like just piecemealing it, or just like pretend, or just like halfway putting it together, putting in a lot of effort, putting in a lot of energy, putting in a lot of time, into making sure that this next iteration of their Soulsborne games is exactly that, the next iteration, the evolution, as we go and get into this next this current gen and everything. So I'm excited for it, man. I want to see more of it. I'm excited for the game to release, and I'm glad they were able to show us a little bit more from it. So
yeah, for sure. Absolutely agreed. Let's see here. I'd be remiss not to mention a bunch of stuff. We don't have to go deep dive it, but Dolmen, which is a sci-fi RPG, horror-esque Dead Space type game, but RPG, that captured my attention. Dolmen, Dolmen, for anybody looking to look for that up. They showed that in the pre-show. Looks really cool. So I got my eyes on that one. Nobody Saves the World, from Drinkbox. They've shown that in the past. That is coming to Xbox. I believe that one is actually, I think that one is Game Pass. But that's from Drinkbox. Looks an action RPG. They showed more of that off. Absolutely love that style, dripping with style, and so that one caught my eye as well. Shout out to K Mega in the chat. I know he's excited for this one, and Steel, I think you might be a little bit too as a fighter fan. I'm not an extreme fighter guy, but I love to button mash, and I love the animation that goes into a lot of these fighters. And King of the Fighter 15 coming out to Xbox. King of the Fighters 15 coming to Xbox is huge win for Xbox because they do miss some of the fighters, but it's coming to all platforms. But King of the Fighters 15 looks great. Dream Cycle, I brought this one up to you, Steel.
Yes, you did.
From the original creator of Tomb Raider. He's got his own video game coming out. This one, keep your eye on it. I think, what'd you say, Steel? 10,000 levels?
Yeah, they were planning on trying to implement like 10,000 levels or something like that.
Yeah. Go check out this game, Dream Cycle. Again, it was in the pre-show, kind of flew underneath the radar, looking absolutely interesting, and got my eyes on that one for sure. Midnight Fight Express, one developer. Kind of looks like it's an indie game, but it looks absolutely incredible. The fighting mechanics, hand-to-hand combat brawler type indie game, looks crazy good. It caught my eye right away. So that's Midnight Fight Express. Cult of the Lamb came out of nowhere from Devolver. Absolutely love Devolver. Devolver can do no wrong in my eyes. They always put out quality games. Even if the game's not for you, the quality is always there. Cult of the Lamb looks crazy good. Can't wait to see more about that one. I guess we can deep dive real quick on another one that I think we both have our eye on, and that is Midnight Suns. Firaxis, the creators of XCOM, and this has been hinted at. Jeff Grubb, he got called out for this one. People didn't believe him, but Jeff Grubb had this scoop months ago and talked about that there was going to be an XCOM style Marvel game. Guess what? It's real. And even for better, guess what? It's real. Better for me, even, is that Firaxis and the head of Firaxis, I forget his name offhand. I've just watched a million interviews with him and I forget it. Anyways, he is a big fan of the old Marvel comics, like myself. Marvel, again, for me, I'm not big into the Marvel universe anymore because they're focusing on new stuff. They ruined Fox. I will say Fox again. It's not Marvel per se, but Fox ruined X-Men for me, which is my favorite Marvel franchise of all time. My favorite characters come from X-Men. So I've been out of the Marvel game for a long time. Nothing much has interested me about any of the games that come out for it. But this one right here, he is a fan of the late 80s, early 90s Marvel. And Midnight Suns, for those that don't know, was actually a sub story that was run back in the 90s. So it actually is based upon an actual comic book series that came out. They are bringing in not only big time characters like Wolverine, like Ghost Rider, like Blade. Obviously, they are also bringing in some obscure characters as well to introduce people. So again, love XCOM, love strategy type games. XCOM being one of the best out there. Now, that being said, they are not going the hardcore XCOM route. It sounds like they're going to ease up a little bit. It's a Marvel franchise. They want as many people playing this as possible. They are also introducing relationships to this series because he believes, as I do, when you read Marvel comics or any kind of comic, especially from back in the day, the relationships were very important.
Right.
And so they want to kind of give you that feel. So you're going to be able to develop relationships when you're not fighting, which is going to obviously strengthen your attacks and your abilities as you go into battle. So again, Midnight Suns, the look of this, it's a much darker Marvel, which is fantastic. They've got the classic Wolverine back, which is so beautiful to see. Again, with Blade in there. Blade is going to be one of my mains. I can tell you that right now. But you actually get to create your own hero, right? So they've got this whole. You're the lead hero is somebody that you create to lead this team.
Oh wow! Okay.
So you can customize that character any way you want.
That's kind of dope.
And they said customization is going to be huge. So that is really cool. So fun speculation. Mav, shout out to him. He's in the chat. He's looking forward to this. I know a lot of people are looking forward to this. But I am definitely high on this one. Again, Firaxis is masters at what they do. They do some of the best work, and I can't wait to see what they do with this series and with these characters. Steel, what were your thoughts on it? I know you had some big impressions too.
For this Midnight Sun game, man, it has pulled my interest pretty heavily. I am a Marvel fan, definitely more on the spectrum, but I mean, I do like most of the new Marvel stuff they put out. I mean, as soon as I saw Iron Man in this trailer, that kind of,
of course.
I was like, that kind of solidified
it's
it for me.
Got a guy with a suit in it. I'm in. Let's go.
Let's go. But just seeing them put this game together in this XCOM kind of style. I've never been a huge fan of XCOM. I'm also strayed away from strategy games just overall over the years. This could be one of those games that kind of pulls me back in a bit and says, hey, especially with hearing that they may be approaching it a little differently. We're going to have this kind of hub world style where you can develop, like you said, relationships with the characters and everything. That's something that is definitely dope to me, where they said they were going to allow you to take your character and you're going to be able to walk around the world or whatever the case might be outside of your missions is going to be dope. But also just hearing that you're going to have full customization over your team or whatever. That's something that's always an attractive thing to me. But depending on when it comes out, would be depending on whether I end up copping it or not. But I think
it's March, right?
Is it March?
I think it's March, yeah.
So it definitely has some interest for me. It just depends on timing and everything, man. Am I going to have the time to play it? Am I going to have the want to play it? We'll see as that time comes closer, as we start getting some more gameplay action for it.
Gameplay next month.
So excellent. So we'll be able to see some stuff from it earlier than expected. So that's awesome. Again, I definitely am interested to see how this ends up playing out. One of the downfalls for Marvel for me is not in the movies necessarily, but it is in the games where you can make movies, but apparently you can't make games. It's the same thing for where DC can't make great movies, but they can make great games. It's like the roles are swapped, and it's really weird for me. And so I'll be excited to see whether this could be one of the marks that is like, hey, now we're finally going to have an amazing game that we could put out there that a lot of people are getting attracted to, that a lot of people are getting pulled into, and that's what excites it. That's what's exciting about it for me. So,
cool, perfect, man. What else you got? You got any other games you want to highlight or talk about or mention? Well, I know there was one other one you wanted.
There was one other one, and that was Soulstice. Soulstice was definitely an attraction to me for being that Devil May Cry style gameplay style. It's definitely something that I was interested in. Hold on, let me see if I can actually pull some gameplay up for that. Show it to the people because I feel like that was another one of those that definitely pulled some attention. That I feel like a lot more people should be looking at. Again, I had like a Devil May Cry near kind of feel to it.
Yep.
With the like seeming like the buddy system or just the combat itself, how she was swapping between the weapons and everything. Even some Final Fantasy 15 I would throw in there. The only thing that kind of throws me off about it is I don't know if it's done on purpose or maybe it's just they're early on in development where the gameplay looks stop motion-ish, if that makes any sense. Where it's like she'll do a combo or whatever, and then there's brief pauses in between the combat. Right. So it's like, I don't know if that's being done intentionally, or maybe that's the design choice, or maybe this is where they're at in development or whatever the case might be. It just throws it off a little bit for me, but who knows?
It could be early. It could be early because they don't have it. They just said 2022, so they don't have a date. So it could be late 2022.
Right.
They're using Unreal. So obviously, who knows? Maybe they'll update to Unreal 5. Or maybe they're already running on that. So maybe some of that is just getting used to Unreal 5 because this is, I believe, a current gen only. Not a cross gen. So PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC is what they have listed. So that could be part of it too in the development.
Yeah, facts. And I mean, the game definitely looks delicious. I mean, for me, it definitely hits all the right notes that I'm interested in. Again, I'm a big combat dude. Hopefully they get some customization in there. You know how much I love my customization. If they got good combat, it has a good look to it. And those are the things that really piqued my interest in it. I want to see more from that down the road. Hopefully it's another one of those that gets a lot of work put into it, that they're taking seriously and doesn't just get pushed to the side. I'd hate to end up seeing it as a game that needed more of a budget. So hopefully the devs are hard at work and everything, and hopefully they don't show anything too early, because again, they definitely pulled some attention, but after this I just hope they go back into the oven and really work on it, put their nose to the grindstone, and see what else they can pull out of it, because there are some things that are kind of throwing me off with it just a little bit. Again, that stop motion kind of looking gameplay, but again, it could just be them being early in development, or it could be a design choice. Who knows? We'll see when it comes close to that point. But Soulstice was definitely another one of those that I would definitely want to look out for, that is on my radar for sure, for games that I'm interested in. So but other than that, that's pretty much it. What you thinking, man? How you feeling about it?
Yeah, man. Again, Soulstice definitely caught my eye. I instantly thought of Devil May Cry. Again, interesting you brought up Nier, because I can see where you got that from as well. But Devil May Cry right off the bat.
Yeah.
I always think of that right away. But loved the art direction. Loved what they got going on. Again, coming from a kind of unknown developer. It's published by Modus Games. We just talked about Modus in the upcoming games. Again, like I said, Modus has definitely published some really good games. But they're definitely not known as like giant budget AAA stuff. But this game kind of came out of the blue. Again, another new game that we had no idea about. It just goes to show, I mean, how much talent is working in this industry now, that we're just getting content nonstop at this point that we had no clue. We talk about all this other stuff. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy. Soulstice is just one of those games that I know I'm going to wind up playing. But it's a game that I never even thought I'd be playing, because I'm thinking about all the big titles we already have coming out in 2022.
Right, exactly.
2022. Look, on paper,
it was supposed to be dry, Pong. I'm just telling you. Almost 6 months ago, it was supposed to be dry.
People are crazy. People can never take a step. I don't know where these people come from, but I just don't. You look at 2022 on paper, just from the stuff that we know about, just from the big stuff. I'm not even talking about the little stuff, but the big stuff is shaping up. Again, anything can happen. We know there's going to be delays. There might be cancellations in there. Who knows what's going to happen, right? We don't know the future, and we don't know how these games are going to turn out. But right now, 2022 looks like the best year of gaming on paper in the history of gaming.
Right.
Period. And that's just from the big stuff. I'm not even talking, like I said, about the little stuff. And then 2023 has the potential, again, on paper, to be even bigger.
Yeah.
This is going to be the best 2 to 3 year run we've ever seen in gaming. And again, we're just sit back and enjoy it. So when a game shows like Soulstice, that's why I love these shows. That's why I can still find so much good out of these shows, even when other people seem to not like the pacing or not like
Right.
this or not like that. I'm just looking at the content itself that is being shown. This is the craziest time in the world to be a gamer. I don't know where I'm going to find the time. I don't know where I'm going to find the money. I don't know where any of this is going to come from, but I just know that there is so many experiences waiting for us. And Soulstice is just another one of those. Love the dynamic between her and her spirit sister. Reminds me of Full Metal Alchemist.
So, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just some of the banter they had going back and forth between them. I thought that was great. So I can't wait to see what this team does. And again, no release date, just says 2022. So, potentially could take the entire year of 2022 and get it up to speed, and maybe work out some of that stuff that you noticed, for sure, Steel. So can't wait. See what else we got. Far Cry 6 showed well again. I love the Far Cries. I just don't buy them day one. I wait for sales on Far Cries, but I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Far Cry 6 looked really good again, showed really well. I know some people thought that the animation the early stuff that they showed, they thought this could have been a downgrade. I saw some of that on social media. Potentially that they were, using high-end PCs to show it off initially, and now we get some of the real kind of stuff.
Right.
And it's not quite up to par. But again, this game looks like Far Cry, and it looks like it's going to be another great experience. For all the Far Cry fans out there, I'm sure this is going to hit big. Blood Hunt. Here's where I got a call. I called myself out last night, Steel. I was going to save it for today, but I wound up doing it last night. But this is where I'm going to fraud a little bit. Blood Hunt. This game needs to come to consoles. You know how much I hate battle royales. Okay.
Yeah.
You know how much I really just can't get into them. Okay. Just not my style at all. Blood Hunt is a battle royale that I would absolutely die for to come to consoles. Every time I see this game, this is from the Masquerade series, the Vampire series. This is an offshoot of that. It's only PC right now, but this game looks so good. And again, I'm a vampire fan, so vampire games automatically get a bump for me. But as far as the gameplay and the style goes, Blood Hunt is looking absolutely fantastic. I told Mav this, that it reminded me, I don't know how many people out there played it, but Shadowrun, the first person shooter version of Shadowrun, which people hated because it wasn't the RPG. I did not like it either, but I played the game and absolutely fell in love with it. Shadowrun, that's the type of movement and the kind of the magic and the spells and the powers that they're using, the vampire stuff. It gives your feels in this game, and it just looks awesome. So I really want this game to come to console. So I'm going to fraud a little bit because it is a battle royale, but this one has me interested. What else? Crossfire X multiplayer. They showed that off. Not excited for the multiplayer. Didn't like the beta that I played, but they are saying that it is coming soon, which means potentially the Remedy single player, which I am interested in, is also coming soon.
Yeah.
Because we have not had any updates on that was supposed to be out this year. So I'm hoping Crossfire X is closer, and I hope we get that still this year, even though we really don't need it this year. I hope we still get it this year. Future game show. We should touch on this. Obviously, Horizon Forbidden West was on the Gamescom stage, and they were there to announce a delay. Now some people are trying to say it wasn't a delay because we never really got a date, but we all know that they pushed and said it was going to be 2021 initially. They did push that aspect for a very long time until just recently, but they got on the Gamescom stage, which is a little strange to announce a release date, which actually was a delay. So coming out February 18th, 2022. Looking great. Love the first one. It will be something that I do pick up if I do get a PlayStation 5, but I just thought it was a little strange. Steel, what were your thoughts on it that they chose Gamescom to announce that?
Again, they want to put it on a bigger stage, just let people know that it's still coming, man. I mean, again, yeah, you could be of the mindset that, oh, it wasn't a delay because we never had a date, but we all know that they were going for 2021 and they wanted to release it this holiday, and it didn't. And I mean, it kind of is what it is. I mean, I was of the expectation. I wasn't expecting for it to come out till next year. Again, I believe the other Horizon also came out in February time, somewhere in there. If I'm not mistaken about that, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
you were right.
So I mean, it could be just a play on marketing for them. Again, why not take advantage of that? Your other one came out in February. This one comes out in February. Treat it like a, kind of like an anniversary type of thing, or just like a way to continue to push that story forward, right? I mean, it is what it is. Again, we're going to have a lot of delays with a lot of the things that we got currently still going on within the world. We're in a crazy place still, man. And these devs are hard at work and doing a lot of work behind the scenes. And it's just, what was more surprising for me is that that more people weren't up in arms about this kind of thing, man. But again, you don't have to be up in arms, right? Because we kind of all expected it. It's just continues to show the bias between whatever side you want to speak on. Again, could we sit here and say that, they needed more work if they weren't ready? They needed to delay it, or whatever the case might be. There's a list of things that we could go through and say just to be petty. But again, the game needed time. I'm all for, if the game needs time, push it back. If that's where the publisher and the dev feels like they need to do, I'm always for that. And I guess that's just the line they had to cross. So I mean, that's kind of my feelings on it. I don't feel any particular way about it. It's just crazy to me that nobody's talking about this, but it is what it is. It is. Could it be what it
because
is.
Deep down inside still, they were like the rest of us and knew from the beginning that it wasn't going to hit this year. And they simply were just putting out the cap that they were going to get it 2021 just to say that something was coming, when they knew in their heart of hearts that it wasn't, because we all knew.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the exact reason why. But in that same breath, it's like it could have came out. I mean, they could have released it in November, December, but I know people were saying months ago, "Oh, Halo's looking to see where Horizon's going to drop."
Yeah, you could be right there too.
What? Like what? So now are we going to bring up, was Horizon looking when Halo was going to drop?
Right.
And is that why they moved it out? Because Halo got announced December 8th. Maybe they were going to release at some point around there, and it was just like, you know what? We'll just do February. And then make it look good because you had your previous game come out around that same time. That could be part of that. But who knows? Again, why cannibalize your games? If you need time, push it back. I mean, whatever the case might be, I'm all for that. It's just crazy to me that it was one spectrum at one point, and now it's, we hear about Call of Duty and everything else now, and now you're pushing your game away. I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah. They needed time.
It could be 2022 could be, again, they're looking at what's coming out in 2022 and what Xbox has got on the table for next year already. And Sony could have just said, hey, we got all our games out for PS5 early this year. We're going to give up the holiday season. Again, Xbox has historically focused on end of the year. I think a lot of people have spoken on this. It's been to the detriment of them many times that they have focused only solely on the end of the year, whereas Sony has tended to space out their stuff more, or not put as much stock into the holiday season with potential blockbusters as Xbox has done. But next year is looking, again, Xbox next year for 2022, just looking at Xbox alone, they are stacked with first party stuff. And Sony, if God of War is a little bit further out than we think, they needed something early in 2022 to keep, their momentum going. So they decided to push Horizon to springtime to kind of, space out some of their stuff and just said, hey, it is what it is for 2021. We put out a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Hype is still high for PS5. We're still selling out everywhere. Let's just hold Horizon until the beginning of 2022 to kind of give us a good, a good pacing of games, next year, a good rhythm, to match what Xbox has got coming. They certainly could be thinking about that too as well. There's a lot of different things that could have gone into this, but I just never expected it this year. I really didn't think it was.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have that expectation either. But again, you say great games take time, right? That's what they say. So it is what it is as far as that goes. Other than that, man,
yeah, I don't know. Moonglow Bay for everybody waiting on that. Chill game. It's coming to Game Pass. That finally got a release date in the Future Game Show. That's coming out October 7th. That's that fishing game with the pixel block style, Minecraft looking style. I know I'll be playing that from time to time because it just looks like a chill game. What else? Gungrave Gore. Go check out that trailer, everybody. If you have not checked it out, man, talking about anime games. I know Demon Slayer is coming out soon too. And a lot of people are hyped for that. I haven't watched a whole lot of Demon Slayer anime, but I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. But Gungrave is under the radar. Gungrave came out. What'd you say, Steel? PS2, right?
Yeah, it was PS2.
PS2 back in the.
Well, I looked at.
Yeah, back in the day. But Gungrave is also an under the radar anime and manga series as well, I believe, that I remember from back in the day. And that new trailer, I was like, what is this? And then I was like, oh my God, is this Gungrave? When I saw all the web, you got to go check out the trailer. Looks fantastic. I don't know what the gameplay is going to be like, but the trailer was impressive. That was pretty cool. Serial Cleaners, that got announced for next year. No firm date. This is an indie game that Indie Gamer has been pushing and talked about on his show before. Serial Cleaners is where you get to go be the mob cleanup guy. So you got to clean up the bodies before the police discover it. Looks super awesome. Top down, isometric view. Looks fantastic. Serial Cleaners. I've been keeping my eyes on that one. Looks hilarious. Looks fun as hell. I can't wait for that one. I've got so many written down here. Hey, everybody, I know some people have been getting hyped for this. The Nickelodeon Smash Brothers clone.
Yeah.
The All-Stars.
I'm kind of hyped for that too.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a Smash guy, but as they add more and more characters from the old Nickelodeon days, I'm starting to get a little excited for it. So they announced Cat Dog is going to be in it, which me and my kiddo used to watch nonstop back in the day. And they also announced April O'Neil from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Of course, she is also going to be in that game. So they're doing the right thing. They're adding all the right characters. So I can't wait.
Yeah.
Other than that, man, just a bunch of smaller titles out there. I could sit here all day like the Indie Gamer and do indie games because there's a bunch of them coming out, man. There's a bunch of them coming out. But that's probably where we probably should end that. We're already way over 3 hours here.
So. All right, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I mean,
like Lego Skywalker Saga 2. Go ahead, Steel. Go ahead, Steel. I know you got a lot of hype. I'm kind of Legoed out. I played so many Lego games with my kid. We used to play them, almost all of them. And so for me, even though it's Star Wars, even though it brings the entire series all in one package, for me, especially because as of this moment, there is no online co-op. I'm not hyped on it as much as I would be. It looks great. Don't get me wrong. The Lego games are always fun. I love what they do over there. Just for me, it's I don't have a whole lot of hype for it, but I know you're kind of excited for it. So go ahead.
I mean, main reason I'm excited for is because I'm a Star Wars fan, man. And I've always been a Lego fan too. I do like what they do with the Lego games, and I haven't had a chance to play any of the Lego Star Wars. Period. And if there's one saga that I would like to go through in a Lego style that's going to be complete, would be this. The possibilities that they have with this, as far as like piecing it all together, and Lego does kind of like to dive a little deeper in certain aspects in a lot of areas. So I'm interested. I'm highly interested as far as the overall story goes and what they actually end up choosing to involve in this entire saga that they want to release. So that's what has me excited about it. I at least want to try to give it a playthrough. It's not like I play every Lego game that comes out or whatever the case might be, but Lego characters, Star Wars, the different, all the different ships and all the different scenes and different areas that they can put in this game, is going to be very interesting. I want to see Tatooine in a Lego form, right? I think that would be awesome to see. I want to see the Jedi Hall in a Lego form. I think those things would be awesome to see. It's just so many things that they have, as far as like a potential ceiling, I should say, that they could pull out in this game that I really am interested in. And again, if there's going to be a Lego game that I want to jump into, it's probably going to be the Star Wars. I want to try this out, at least give it a run through and see how I feel about it. So.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I totally get it. Like I said, had I not played so much back in the day, I would have a lot of hype for this game.
Yeah.
I love Star Wars and I love Lego. So it's just that I have played a lot.
Yeah. And I feel
but
that.
it looks great. But it looks great. The writing looks fantastic. I was laughing during the trailer because there was some parts where it was just absolutely hilarious. So again, love what they do there. Again, I'm glad it's finally coming because it has been delayed and kind of went dark for a long time. Right. And a lot of people have been waiting on it. So, but please put in online co-op. Please put in
that would be nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't agree with you on that. It would be, I can definitely agree with you on that. It would be nice if they added the co-op aspect, especially in this. Like, if there's any game that you could add a co-op to, why not the Star Wars, the Skywalker saga? You had Obi-Wan the whole time that he was there the whole time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
correct.
Anakin was there the whole, like, you have the potential to put co-op in there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
and the same goes for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Shredder's, is it Shredder's Revenge?
I think so.
Yeah, that too. You guys are missing out on a big opportunity. It crushed Battletoads. Battletoads would have been it was a good game. It would have been a much better game with online co-op. I agree. And again, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, please, you guys put online co-op. You guys got to have online co-op in this stuff. It just it fits so perfect. We're in 2021. I know the coding's not easy. I know there's a lot of back end stuff that gets complicated when you do online co-op. Come on, it's 2021. We got to have it for these types of games, especially. So
you want more people to play them? Give people a reason to play, right? Exactly. It is what it is. With that being said, is there any other games that you want to throw in there? Anything else that you want to touch on before we get into this day in gaming and then
make me feel old, Steel? Make me feel old. I guess we could let's do this one real quick. Saints Row. A lot of divisiveness over Saints Row. Saints Row finally got announced. It is a reboot of the entire franchise. A lot of people unhappy with the direction that they're going. Again, I've played all the Saints Rows. I enjoyed 1 and 2 as being very much just GTA clones, but taking the parts of GTA that I love the best, which is just running around and causing complete chaos and utter ridiculousness.
Right.
I thought they did a great job with those. I appreciated 3 and 4 for what they were, the comedy that they brought. I know a lot of people were turned off by that, but then they found a brand new fan base that really did like the comedy and not taking it too seriously. I thought 4 went a little too far as the over topness, but I still liked what I played out of that game. I actually did enjoy Agents of Mayhem, which a lot of people hated. Because
I did too.
Yeah, they wanted a new Saints Row. They didn't get a new Saints Row. A lot of people just said, screw Agents of Mayhem. I'm not playing this trash. I actually liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Actually still pop it in from time to time and playing through it now on Xbox, where I played it on PlayStation 4. So for me, I'm excited to see what they do with this. I'm not excited about kind of some of the directions they're talking about. The devs talking about they're going to have to stay away from some of the over-the-top comedy aspects that are no longer PC. I think that's kind of the core of Saints Row that kind of made it what it was. Being very, I don't want to say on PC because I hate repeating myself, but being just being dirty, flat out, right? And being you just didn't give a flying fuck about what they said or what jokes they put in there. That's part of Saints Row, and I think it's going to miss that if they do go away from that too much. And the style, I know everybody's getting down on this overused at this point Fortnite kind of style characters. Hopefully the trailer doesn't show everything because they said you're going to have fully customizable characters. So hopefully they still have some of the old style in there as well. But I think it's just going to be a good time, pure fun to jump in and out of. So I'm excited that Saints Row's back. Again, I'm not a huge fan like you, Steel, I'm not a huge fan. So therefore, I don't have giant opinions on it. I'll check it out when it comes out. I'll see what it's about. If it's something that I think I'm going to have a great time with, I'll play it. I really don't have any loyalty to the old stuff. Again, liked what they did, really enjoyed it. But again, I don't have that loyalty. So it's not going to keep me from playing it just because they go in a different direction this time. If I think it's something that I am going to have fun with at the end of the day. So where are you at with that, Steel?
I'm pretty much along the same lines, man. I mean, again, Saints Row was never a big thing for me. I did enjoy the time that I have spent in the game, Saints Row. But like you, I also enjoyed the over-the-topness of it. I feel like that's what really separated it from like a GTA or Sleeping Dogs or any other game that those open-world GTA-like games, because I mean, again, that's what they are. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do with this. Them coming back to dialing it back in, and making it more story based, I guess. Taking it a little bit more serious. But again, just like you two, Pong, like I don't want them to make it more PC though. Like I don't want them to be scared to jump out on that ledge. I feel like it really takes away from games when people feel like they have to dial back their game because they feel like people may feel like it's too much. Now I understand why they do it. I mean, they want to guarantee sales. You know what I mean? They don't want it to become some big thing, kind of like how Last of Us 2 had. You know what I mean? You had a lot of those things going on in the beginning, and still going on to this day, where certain people feel a certain type of way about certain things that happen within the game, regardless of what side of the fence that you stand on. So. Right. I understand it, but at the same time, I want them to be able to stay as true as Saints Row as they can. Again, the over-the-topness, them being the creativeness, was all key parts to it. The way that they did the gang wars and everything. Saints Row did really well with making the world feel alive. In some aspects, a lot of aspects better than GTA has ever done. Just making it feel like it was an active world that you can jump in, cause mayhem, and then jump out of. And I just don't want them to take that away. So for me, that's pretty much kind of where I stand on as far as that goes.
Yep. No, I think we're in agreement there. So, Steel, is that time of the show, everybody, where Steel gets to make me and the rest of you who may be of a older age feel old. So you know what, Steel, let's get down to it. Let's get everybody out of here and on with their weekend. So let's do it. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Again, me and Paul find out ways to make this the most magnificent show for you guys. And the ways that we do this, it's partially with the upcoming games. And then also with the This Day in Gaming segment, just because we like to shine light on all games, especially over the generation, shine light on where we've come from to where we are today, because it is important.
Our history. We got to remember history.
If we're going to look forward to the future, then we have to remember the past. Gaming is art and should be treated as such. So with that being said, in This Day in Gaming of August the 28th, we have quite a few titles. Let me go ahead and get that full screen pulled up, because we're starting in the year 2000 with the Nintendo 64. And they released on the Nintendo 64 Mario Tennis. It was actually a great game at the time.
Cult favorite. I was always a virtual tennis guy, but
Virtual Tennis was a good game too. It was a good game. But Mario Tennis was a good time. I've always loved Mario Tennis so we're already starting off with a heavy hitter, diving into those memory banks. Then in 2002, you had on PlayStation 2 release Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny.
Oh, so good. So good, Onimushas. Oh.
Shout out to all the Onimusha fans out there. 2003, we released on PC the Sagara family in Japan. I'm not familiar with that title, but all right. 2007, Xbox 360 released Blue Dragon. That
Oh,
sounds really
amazing.
familiar.
Amazing.
That sounds really familiar.
Sakaguchi, the original creator of Final Fantasy. That's one of the deals
That's probably
that
why.
he did. Lost Odyssey was the other one, but he
Okay.
did Blue Dragon for Xbox exclusively. Classic style JRPG in the Dragon Quest style, Dragon Warrior style. So great game. One that people have been wanting a sequel to for a long time. And been asking Phil to go make another deal with Sakaguchi and bring him back to do that.
There you go. Facts. Well, there you go. Blue Dragon. Get the memory banks rolling on that one.
Yeah.
Then on PSP, you also had the Monster Hunter Freedom 2. And
awesome.
PSP also released Naruto Ultimate Ninja Heroes. I didn't play that one. So PlayStation 2 also released Wild Arms 5.
Great series. Wild Arms is a great RPG series. Underrated, in my opinion. Classic. So
yeah. Excellent. Shout out to the Wild Arms fans out there. There you go. Then in 2009, we're making some jumps here.
This
sounds
spicy. This sounds spicy.
PC released Majiko. Now, hold on, let me make sure that's an I at the end. So I gotta say Majikoi. Love me seriously, Japan.
I can only imagine what that is.
Yeah, let's not jump. Let's not dive into that hole. Then on PSP we got Warriors Orochi 2.
Yeah,
excellent game. That's an excellent game.
Excellent game.
Then on 2012, we're keeping that ball rolling. PC released Guild Wars 2.
Fun fact: I jumped into Guild Wars for a little short period of time. Yeah.
Guild Wars was a good time. Guild Wars was a good time.
Yes, it was. They ruined it terribly, but it was a great.
Yeah, they've ruined it over the years. Facts.
Yeah.
Then on PlayStation 3, and on Xbox 360, we got Madden NFL 13. Again, hey, year over year, Madden making it happen.
Cut and paste.
Making it happen. PlayStation 3 then released Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker HD Edition. Shout out to everybody who loves the Metal Gear Solid. The collection. Who loves those games, man? Shout out to y'all. Rise Revengeance, or I believe it was called Rise Revengeance, and then Phantom Pain are my two favorite Metal Gear games.
Okay. Awesome. Phantom Pain was good
for me. PlayStation 3 then also released Ratchet and Clank Collection. Then they also released on PlayStation 3 The Walking Dead Episode 3, Long Road Ahead.
Walking Dead's good.
Stuff. I fell off of Walking Dead. I enjoyed the TV series, and
I never watched a TV series, but I played the Telltale.
Oh, you started playing games? Okay.
I never got to. I don't think I played Episode 3, but I played them on the Vita. So
okay, word. I heard they were a good time.
Yeah, they were.
Then in 2014 on PlayStation 3, you had Persona 4 Arena Ultimax in Japan. Then on PlayStation Vita, you had Toukiden Kiwami in Japan. I know you got some Toukiden fans out there. Shout out to y'all.
Oh, yeah.
2018, you got PlayStation 4 that released Fire Pro Wrestling World.
Huge series. Love Fire Pro Wrestling.
Hell yeah.
Should pick them up again.
Nintendo Switch released Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. For those of you who are interested in that. And then here we go. PlayStation 4 also released Yakuza Kiwami 2. Shout out to all the Yakuza fans out there.
Hell yeah, more Yakuza fans now than ever, thanks to
the Game
Xbox
Pass.
and Game Pass. That's right.
Just saying. Then in 2020, we're coming to the end of this list where PlayStation 4 has released Captain Tsubusa, Rise of the New Champion.
Don't remember that one.
Don't remember that either, but shout out to that game. Then Xbox One released Drake's Hollow. Shout out to the people. I know there's a lot of people who are fans of that. Nintendo Switch released Nexomon Extinction. I know a lot of people who are actually very involved in the Nexomon series.
Really?
Said it was like Pokemon, but on crack. Said it took Pokemon to that next level. It took it to a level where people wish Pokemon would have took it to. But as far as like that term,
isn't that crazy? There's so much call for people like, generally saying Nintendo do something because Pokemon could be this. Pokemon could be this. Right, and it's just crazy. Man.
I would love to see a Pokemon game in the Unreal Engine. I really would. Really, Unreal Engine 5 Pokemon taking full advantage of making those legendary Pokemon feel scary, because that was one of the things from back in the day that was really prevalent. But at least it made an impact for me. There was like certain legendary Pokemon where the way that they introduced them, the lore behind them and everything was just like, it was scary. It was haunting. It was like when you ran across a legendary Pokemon, you were like, oh snap. Like this is serious, and I feel like if they, especially with like some of the darker ones,
Yeah.
they could
Yeah.
really hit some notes there that could really elevate Pokemon to that next level. But
An adult version of Pokemon.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
yeah, that would really be badass. But Nintendo has to see that potential. So
Yeah. They don't.
and they don't. The PlayStation 4 and Xbox One released Wasteland 3, a cult classic at this point.
Gotta
I know
get
a lot
back
of
to
people
it.
love.
Gotta get back to it.
I know a lot of
man,
people
I
love.
like
I
it.
can't get into it myself, but I know a lot of people love it. But with that being said, that is your This Day in Gaming segment. This is your Saturday morning with the Living Split Screen Morning Show podcast, whatever you want to reference us as, where we go live every 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time on that Saturday morning. With that being said, Pong, another excellent episode on the Living Split Screen. Episode 22 is in the books. We had a lot of excellent things to talk about, but again, it seems like we always have excellent things, a lot of things that we could deep dive into or just have conversation, because honestly, we didn't have a lot of deep dives today. We just had a lot of passion today, a lot of conversations to have today. And again, I feel like that's an integral part of this whole podcasting thing, right? I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want to hold it to this standard or whatever the case might be. And at the end of the day, we could do that. But again, me and Pong don't have all week to sit here and decide, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. This is how we're going to talk about. This is the timing that we're going to have. We just get in here and we give you the passion, the authenticity, the organic nature that I feel like is more important than anything else, versus us having like a trying to fit into whatever box that we need to fit into, right? This kind of gives us opportunity to kind of break loose and, you know, have those conversations that I feel like some people don't really want to have, and kind of open it up to really those, to the people that are passionate about the gaming industry overall. And I feel like that's what we really hold near and dear to our hearts. So again, for everybody who's been enjoying this, and again, enjoys us going on some of these tangents and going just over us all, because I don't feel like they're tangents, but just us, you know, really speaking on the gaming industry in total. We greatly appreciate you guys. That's why we do this thing. Again, our goal is to reach those 3 billion gamers. Who's to say that we'll ever get to that point? But it's definitely up to us and to the people to get us out there, to get us noticed, and for us to continue to push that ball forward. But with that being said, Pong, go ahead and get these people out of here, man. Let them know where they can find you. Let them know what you're going to be into. And other than that, man, I just greatly appreciate you for being here week by week, man.
Man, you know that. I look forward to it. It was great to see your face this morning when we popped on in the green room. It's just a highlight of my week, Steel, because I love you so much, brother, and respect everything that you do, man. And no matter what, again, we both have real lives, and that's the way it is. So, but at the end of the day, Saturday morning, we get together, and this is what we do because we love doing it. We are not getting paid.
No, no sponsors.
We do not have Venmo. Yeah, exactly. So we are here because we love talking about this stuff. And today was a great indicator of that. Again, we could have sat here literally for another 2 hours
and just kept going.
Just talking about stuff, celebrating gaming, because there is so much stuff coming out. And I don't tire of talking about that stuff. We go on a lot of rants. During Living Split Screen, we have a lot of stuff that we do have to talk about that is serious business, but today was just a good day overall, just to celebrate gaming and what we saw this week and some of the exciting news that's coming out and why we all love this hobby so much. And again, shout out to everybody who showed up today. Phenomenal. 42 likes today. We are consistent with that. We love all of you. Each and every one of you come out here each Saturday to hear Steel and I do this. Again, it's phenomenal. We still have, 15 people here hanging out with us over 3 hours later, enjoying the content. That we can't say thank you enough to all of you. Again, Steel and I, at some point, real life will slow down a little bit for both of us, and we will be able to put more time into what we love here, and also be able to still game, which is the most important thing. Because again, if you tell me I choose between podcasting and gaming, well, I'm choosing gaming. As much as I love to talk, I want gaming. So we both have to balance that out as well. But man, love you all. Nothing but love and respect for everybody who gives us their time and their feedback and their comments throughout all of this. So thank you so much for being here. episode 2022. Jesus, I'm going to say the year. Episode 22 in the books. So, you know what, everybody? Again, find me, Pong Steel, Xbox, Twitter. You guys know the drill. I have not been as active as much lately, just because, again, my days are now getting back to the swamp of real work. So I have not been in chats as much. I've been trying to pop in, been trying to shout out people, trying to keep up with people's birthdays, for God's sakes. There's so many people, so many awesome people in this community. Been trying to do all of that on top of focusing on work, because that's what pays the bills. But find me there. I still will follow you back. Hit me up in the DMs. I try to answer everybody that I can, and talk to everybody, because I do love talking to gaming. But find me there. Otherwise, tonight the shop podcast is back. I am happy to say PTK Blam is back on the scene. We've got the crew back together. Stag may even be returning tonight, which will be huge. We have a gigantic guest, one of the best members of this community, straight out of Seasoned Gaming, Ains. Portia Power will be on the show tonight for the shop podcast. So it's going to be a fantastic return. Can't wait to sit down and talk with those guys. I haven't I've talked to some of them behind the scenes a little bit, but it's always different when you get on a show with everybody. Right. So cannot wait to get back with the shop podcast crew as well tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, 6 p.m. Arizona time, as like PTK likes to say, because it's a weird time. We will be there. So join us all. I hope to see you guys there. Otherwise, Tuesday, Xbox Factor podcast, Mr. Boomstick, Double Barrel Gaming channel. You know the drill. Zemi Games, 3-bit, myself, Mav has showed up lately a lot. So come join us. Xbox Factor podcast, all the best Xbox gaming talk you can get. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central time there. Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate. Just had another great show last night. We were missing a big part of the crew last night, but we still went and did it. So you know what? Xbox Ultimate is a great. We got, it's my extended family with Steel as well. It's just my extended family. And I love those guys over there. Magnificent Seven, Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central time. We just have a great time each and every week. Otherwise, back here, episode 23 next weekend, God's willing. Steel and I will be here doing our thing. So you know what? Get out there this weekend, play what you love what you play. Hey, and shout out any listeners, any followers, anybody that's been in our chat that is in the South, Louisiana, especially Mississippi area. Please be safe, everybody. Be safe. Do the best you can down there. Ida is not looking like a joke. Unfortunately, it looks like that some of the powers that be took some days off and decided to ignore it. So there's a lot of people in the way of this storm because there was no evacuation. So please buckle down, stay safe. Any family members that you guys got, please sending out all the energy I can give to the people down there. But otherwise, play what you love what you play, and we'll see you again real soon. Nothing but love and respect for all of you.
And that's 100% true. I'm along those same lines. Hopefully that Ida doesn't choose to go a little bit more right, because then I'd be right there within the panhandle and everything. And they're talking about it potentially reaching category 4 type strength, which would be, I don't really get into too much of a fear until it gets ranked to the category 3 area. So if it's going to be around there over, it's definitely something that we got to look out for. So again, like Paul said, much love to anybody that will be involved or affected. Hopefully nobody gets hit over the head, and hopefully everything goes well. We'll be right back here Saturday morning to hit you guys upside the head, giving that authentic, live, raw and uncut organic energy that only me and Pong can bring. Look, you can find me anywhere. I Steel Rain. The T is a 7. Just type it in your search bar, man. Whether it's Xbox, PC, PlayStation, even though I don't currently own a PlayStation, more than likely you will find me. Twitter, Facebook, wherever that may be. Type it in, you'll find me. Hit me up in the DMs on Twitter. I'm mostly active on there since I have direct connection to there. Or just hit us up in the comments on YouTube, man. Living Split Screen, we're here for you guys to have these conversations. We keep it, we pride ourselves on keeping that the organic nature of just keeping it about everything going on within the gaming industry. Excuse me, thoughts all over the place, voices all over the place. But with that being said, again, you can find me right here every Saturday morning, again, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time. And man, for those who don't know, I just haven't done it yet. Not only do we want you guys to hit that like button, not only do we want you guys to share this out, not only do I want you to tell your mama's boyfriend about us, but I also want you guys to hit that bell notification so that the 260 plus subscribers that we have gotten to can be notified when we go live. Because I do feel like, man, we got all these subs. I need these. We want these 200 plus people to be tuned in, locked in, and checking us out, man. Don't just sub to us just because a buddy told you to sub. Hit that sub because you like what we bring you. You like the energy. You like the authenticity that we bring to this scene, because I feel like it's unique. We do some different things over here on this side. And again, we hold those values very near and dear and true to our hearts. So with that being said, much love to everybody who's continued to stay tuned in. And we'll see you next week on episode 23 of the Living Split Screen morning show / podcast. Much love to y'all, man.
Later all.
Peace.